I don't have to tell you things are bad. Everybody knows things are bad. Everybody's out of work or scared of losing their job. The dollar buys a nickel's worth. Banks are going bust. Shopkeepers keep a gun under the counter. Punks are running wild in the street. There's nobody anywhere who seems to know what to do, and there's no end to it. The air is unfit to breathe, and our food is unfit to eat. And we sit watching our TVs while some local newscaster tells us that today we had 15 homicides and 63 violent crimes, as if that's the way it's supposed to be. We know things are bad, worse than bad. It's like everything everywhere is going crazy, so we don't go out anymore. We sit in the house, and slowly the world we're living in is getting smaller, and all we say is, please, at least leave us alone in our living rooms. Let me have my toaster and my TV and my steel-belted radios, and I won't say anything. Just leave us alone. Well, I'm not going to leave you alone. I want you to get mad. I don't want you to protest. I don't want you to riot. I don't want you to write to your congressman because I wouldn't know what to tell you to write. I don't know what to do about the depression and the inflation and the Russians and the crime in the street. All I know is that first, you've got to get mad. You've got to say, I'm a human being. God damn it. My life has value. So, I want you to get up now. I want all of you to get up out of your chairs. I want you to get up right now and go to the window, open it, and stick your head out and yell, I'm as mad as hell, and I'm not going to take this anymore.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to this 282nd episode of the Political Spotlight. I am your host, Christopher H. Bilbrey, and we are very happy to have you with us. Thank you for being here and spending a little bit of your evening with us on this wonderful Wednesday evening. 23 years, rather. It feels sometimes like days. 23 years ago today. 23 years ago today. The terrible events of Tuesday, September 11th, 2001 occurred. It's just hard to believe. Sometimes it feels like it was 23 years ago, and sometimes it feels like it was just yesterday. Oftentimes, when I think about the segment of time being 20 years ago, I still think that 20 years ago was the 80s. So I have a really hard time placing in my mind that 20 years ago was the early 2000s. Absolutely crazy. It's a wild thing to think about. And sadly, I feel like a lot of Americans who were around at the time who promised that we would never forget, I feel like a lot have forgot. And I think that is something that as Americans we need to try and recapture. There's a lot of different feelings about 9/11, about what happened leading up to 9/11, various thoughts about who was responsible, who knew what, when, where, how, and why, what we did afterwards, the reaction, the good, the bad, the wrong, and all of that can be argued and debated and talked about for the rest of eternity. But the one thing that we need to remember is no matter what political nonsense was going on, no matter what corruption led to this or that happening, civilian Americans, men and women, were killed and lost their lives that had nothing to do with the political bullshit that goes on in America, goes on in our individual states, goes on in our townships and our counties and our cities and our towns. The very things that we talk about on this program nightly, whether we're talking local politics or state politics or national politics, world politics, those same things, the corruption, the lack of communication, the unwillingness to own up to mistakes is what leads to situations like that. Extremism and ignorance. And because of that, a lot of good people died. A lot of good people had their lives forever changed. The amount of men and women and families that were changed just in the aftermath. People who were not in New York or who were not in the Pentagon or people who were not in the airplane in Shanksville, Pennsylvania. Men and women who were living lives elsewhere in the country, elsewhere in the world, who, because of that event, then signed up for the military and went off to fight in wars. And people there in those wars who lost their lives, who were forever injured and, lost everything. Their families lost everything. The untold damage that single event created. It's just like that stone that you drop in the pond and the ripples just ripple out further and further and further. So I think it's important that we take a moment and remember the people who have been touched by this event. I think it's important that we remember it's not just something that we say 23 years ago today. That's very important. The promise we made was that we would never forget. My question is, have we all kept that promise? I believe that those of us here at the Political Spotlight, for various reasons, I believe that we have. Obviously, we're a three-legged chair here, and one of our spokes, their family is a military family. And so they were drastically affected by this. And so we have to think about them and the people that they've been involved with and the other people like them that we don't know. We, I believe, have kept that promise. I think that we here at the Political Spotlight challenge everyone who lived through this and those that were not alive at the time but have learned about it and who are around now. I've got a brother that was 1 when this happened, 1.5 when this happened. He doesn't remember this. This is not a tragic memory to him. It's like Pearl Harbor to me. But I still think about Pearl Harbor and give that the respect and the solemn thoughts that it deserves, I guess. I challenge everyone who is an American to think back and remember how we all felt that morning and throughout the day and into the evening and then into the following days and weeks. Your personal experiences, your emotions, all matter in the collective memory. The hurt, the fear, the patriotism. For all of our differences, we somehow managed to come together as a united community. Those that were gay and straight and black and white and from all the various places in the world, at least for a while, we were one community. We challenge you to get back into that headspace. And I know it hurts, but for a moment, get back into the headspace 23 years ago. And when you're there, and when you have that thought in your mind, and when you have that feeling in your gut, hold it there. And from that point forward, keep the promise to never forget. I oftentimes say on my programs and when I'm writing my descriptions, the line that I just absolutely just cherish. It's an amazing line. And it's the line from the man in the airplane who knew that his life was nearly over, and he and others took it upon themselves to say, we are not going to go down allowing these clowns to hurt other people. We are going to take our fate into our own hands. They made phone calls if they were able to. They said prayers to their God, and they made the decision to try and take the plane back from the bastards that were controlling the plane, the terrorist. And the words that he said as they started that process were, "Let's roll." And I absolutely love that. And I say that frequently. I said that when I was a police officer. Anytime we would be going into something or into a situation, anytime I'm facing some situation, I always say that. I think about that gentleman daily because of that phrase, "Let's roll." And I say that a lot. So maybe keep that in your mind. And let's just think about that. Before we get on with the rest of the show, I do just want to offer up a moment of silence for all of those affected, and in remembrance of Tuesday, September 11th, 2001. All right. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the program. I hope you're all doing well. Our prayers and our thoughts go out to Alva, who is in the midst of Hurricane Francine, I believe is the name. It has made landfall. He said that he is in the process down here. He's posted, "It came an hour earlier than I expected, but I am now officially in the eye of the Hurricane Francine." He texted me a couple of hours ago and said, "We are without power now," but that was assumed. And I started to text him and say, "Well, if we don't see you tonight, keep well, and our thoughts and prayers are with you." But I didn't send that to him because I knew somehow he would make sure that he would be here. And amazingly, he is here. So I want to give a big shout out to Alva, who says that he is sitting in his truck, charging his phone, getting some air conditioning, and watching the absolute best damn political talk show going, at least here in East Central Indiana. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Tonight's show is going to be a big show. After the absolute disaster that last night was, I didn't know what we would be talking about tonight, but about an hour before we went live last night, I was made aware of something that occurred in Madison County yesterday, just as we were getting ready to watch the debate. Local politics was going on elsewhere. And so that's what we're going to be talking about, Madison County. Before we get into that, for those of you that are watching from wherever you're watching from, I welcome you, whether you're on Facebook or Twitter or TikTok or however you're watching. I appreciate it. Please take this time and share the link, share the show with people there, spread the word, help spread the message. That is very helpful. For those of you that are not on YouTube, I would invite you to make the switch, come on over to the dark side, to YouTube, and join us on YouTube. And the only reason there's not better viewing or perks or whatnot, it just gives you a little bit better audience pool for you to be able to interact with if that's something that you're interested in. It also selfishly helps us. So if you are able to make the trek over to YouTube, that would be fantastic. For those of you that are on YouTube, I would ask that you please consider subscribing if you have not subscribed. Hit the like button and ring that bell so you know when we drop content. Other than that, you know that we are live 5 nights a week, Sunday through Thursday at 9 p.m. Eastern. The biggest thing is when you're doing these things over here on this side is that you communicate with us, comment in the live chat over here, or if you're watching upon replay in the future, comment down here in the comment box. And above all else, share the show with everyone you know. Help spread the word. That's the big thing. Okay, so we are going to be joined by a special guest in just a few moments. It's she's not a guest anymore. She's part of the show. She's one of our contributing correspondents. You know her and love her and or hate her. I don't know, depending on Russ, are you watching? Ben Gale, the Hewer residents, are you guys checked in? You guys more than likely hate her. For those that like her, that respect her, that care about her, you'll know her as Katherine Callahan. Dr. Katherine Callahan, that really rubs it in on them. They don't like that. She will be joining us just momentarily, and we will be breaking down the Madison County Council meeting, like Delaware County, like the city of Muncie, like Henry County, like Marion County, like all 92 counties throughout Indiana. And I would fare to assume throughout all 50 states, it's budget time. And what do I mean by budget time? Well, I mean it's time to start deciding and voting on measures and funding departments and making cuts and doing what needs to happen to put together a budget that will fund the government with our tax dollars, yippee, for another year in 2025. And Madison County is no different than any of the other cities, towns, counties. They're in this budget process. The difference with Madison County is they have a major issue where they just don't believe that they answer to the citizens of the community. I am born and raised in Muncie, Indiana, Little Chicago, where it's been corrupt here since the 1920s, where we have had kingmakers and queenmakers and corrupt political parties and corrupt administrations and corrupt governments and big swaths where the Democrats are in control for 20 and 30 years and the Republicans are in control for 20 and 30 years, and FBI investigations. And we have elected officials who are oftentimes indicted, arrested, thrown in jail, state, city, county, federal. We've had mayors arrested, sheriffs arrested, judges arrested. They oftentimes come back from those criminal events and run for office yet again, and in a lot of cases win again. I come from one of the most corrupt communities in the state of Indiana. We had an FBI investigation and a Department of Justice investigation that was a two-pronged investigation investigating two wildly different aspects of corruption within our local city and county government, political parties involved, where they made nearly 8 arrests, indictments. We had all sorts of members of an administration going to jail, doing jail time, pleading guilty in federal court for an investigation that lasted nearly 8.5 years. And Madison County is still more bizarre in the aspect of how the elected officials look at and treat the citizenry. I've not seen anything like it. It is mind-boggling. It is absolutely mind-boggling. it somehow manages to leave me speechless, and that's not something that happens frequently. So tonight's episode 282, it's titled The Violation of Katherine Callahan. And when I titled the show The Violation of Katherine Callahan, I titled it because I knew what we would be talking about. And I knew what we would be talking about would be a First Amendment civil rights 1983 violation in my mind. And I will get to that. We will talk about that. Producer Kate, when she woke up and saw it this morning, she messaged me and she's like, "Oh, I don't like the title." And I was like, "What do you mean? Why? What's wrong?" And she was like, "Well," and I just didn't think the way that she was. And I can understand what she was saying. I think that she thought that maybe it implied something else. And I completely understand that. And I thought about changing it. But then I thought, no, I think it's fitting. Because while it is not what Kate thought, it is a violation. It is a violation beyond even the First Amendment rights violation. It is a violation that the elected officials are doing over there. And it's not just to Katherine Callahan. Katherine is just a figurehead, just a name in a slot. It could be anything. It's a violation that they are pulling on the entire citizenry of Madison County, and they do not give a damn. And it's wild. It is nuts what they get away with. This is going to be an exciting show. It's going to be, I think, in my opinion, a sad show. I hope it's somewhat entertaining. I definitely hope that it's educational. And I believe it will be educational for a certain group, a certain grouping of people. Now, I fully hope. I fully hope that Ben Gale, Anthony Emery, Diana Likens, Bethany Keller, Mikhail Vaughn, Jody Norick, Rob Steele, Olivia Pratt, Darlene Likens, John Richwine, Tom Ecker, Linda Smith, John Beeman, Russ Willis, Terry Joe Austin, Tim Linnane, and anybody else in counties, hell, in city of Anderson government. I hope they are watching. I hope they're tuned in. I hope they're tuned in. I hope they're listening. I'll slow down. You guys can take notes. I can get out my crayons and I can draw you a picture. I can give you my phone number. You can call me. We can have one-on-ones. This, I hope, will be an educational time for you. I hope this will be an educational time for the citizenry. I think this is the precipice, and I will explain why. And Katherine and I even disagree on a couple points. One specific point, and I can't wait to get into that with her. But I will tell you, tonight's commentary will focus on an out-of-control Madison County government. We will discuss how they violated Katherine's First Amendment rights while she was trying to engage the elected council during a public meeting in a public building. The topic at hand happened to be the budget, which is funded by tax dollars, which calls for a public hearing, which of course calls for public comment and communication. And Madison County feels like they should limit that to the shortest amount of time possible, and they should not express even a second further in giving the citizens even any more room. They don't feel like they deserve to be heard. And it's insane. Because of all of the meetings, these are the specific meetings that require the government to allow for the citizens to redress them. But like usual, the council was ready to ignore Katherine while they were working to shut her up however rudely they could. And listen, House Bill 1338, JD Prescott's law, be damned. I don't care about that law, and I'm going to tell you why. In what was most likely the first time since this unconstitutional law becoming an unconstitutional Indiana state law, which occurred in July. It was authored by JD Prescott, District 33 State Representative, just an absolute complete mama's boy, bitch boy, horrible public servant, not a Republican, not a conservative, not someone that needs to be in elected office in any way. But he authored this up in the beginning of this year, 2024, pushed it through. A lot of other non-conservative Republicans doing what the boss man, what their leader, Todd Houston, told them to do, and they voted on it and passed it through. And this House Bill 1338 became an unconstitutional law in July. It was referenced by Madison County, I think probably for the first time in Indiana history since becoming a law last night. It was referenced by just an absolute turd of an individual, Mikhail Vaughn, the man that is the Madison County Matt Kantz. He rides the fence. He makes people think that he's on their side, and then he's on the corrupt side, and he's on the good guy side, and he's too afraid to talk and answer questions. He lies and he hides behind lawyers and whatnot, and he's just a sorry, pathetic excuse for an elected official. Mikhail Vaughn should resign tomorrow morning and allow the people of Madison County to put an actual leader in his role. All of these people should. All of these people should. We'll get to that. But he referenced this law, and then the Madison County Council slobbered over themselves quickly. Couldn't wait to use it illegally, in my opinion, to violate Katherine's First Amendment rights by having her removed from a public county council meeting because she attempted to hold their asses accountable. Her elected officials, men and women who work for her. She was trying to redress the government in a peaceful way, mind you, without being violent, without being vulgar, without being out of turn, without being wholly disruptive. Let me tell you, we're going to watch it. We're going to see it in a moment. The most disruptive thing that occurred last night was Ben Gale and his three-ring circus that he put on attempting to kick people out of a public meeting. That act that took place, which we will fully discuss in detail with Katherine, caused far more of a disruption than just allowing Katherine 30 more seconds of time. Hell, they even adjourned the meeting 5 minutes after kicking her out. What was the point? Councilor Mikhail Vaughn mentioned Prescott law before the council used it precisely as Prescott intended, which is precisely what Brandon Rudd, producer Kate, and I were worried about back when we were fighting this House bill that was being pushed through and voted with the horrible Indiana General Assembly. People that wouldn't know what it meant to be constitutionally minded if the Constitution bit them on the ass. And of course, Ben Gale, trying to beat the gavel to the floor, needed to act as crazy as he could, was way out of line about everything. At one time, yelling at an individual who spoke up from the audience when the individual pulled a page from my book asking them to speak so everyone could hear them. He was like, quit disrupting the meeting. Hey, Ben Gale, you fool. The meeting was disrupted. It was paused. There was nothing going on. Man, I wish that the debate wouldn't have been going on last night. I could have been there and we could have really proved a point. There will come a day. I can promise you it is coming. But of course, President Ben Gale acting way out of line like he does with everything. And then at the same time, fellow counselors, Anthony Emery. I can't believe that guy's a police officer. What a weakling of mind and spirit and internal constitution. That man is a mouse. Mikhail Vaughn, of course, Diana Likens, Robert Steele, they all fell right in line. Every one of the counselors should be ashamed of themselves, and their actions or inactions must be dealt with. Must be dealt with. I'll tell you what's really, really sad. What's really sad here is that it wasn't just those 5 people. Now, it is important to note here that Counselor Bethany Keller was absent from last night's meeting. She had a baby on Sunday. Congratulations to her and her husband. They had a baby. That's a wonderful thing. So she was off. She was taking care of that. She was not in attendance at the meeting. So that left only 6 counselors there, 5 corrupt idiots, and 1 counselor that I thought was on the people's side, Jody Norick. However, she showed herself to be a spineless nothing as well. She's as bad as Ben Gale, in my opinion. She said nothing. When you stand by and watch evil and corruption happen and you say nothing, you are just as bad. I thought she was supposed to be one of the good ones. Every one of the counselors should be ashamed of themselves for their actions and or inactions, and they must be dealt with, and they will be dealt with. The biggest takeaway from what happened, and I cannot wait to talk to Katherine about, the biggest issue, in my opinion, is the fact that Counselor Jody Norick, Republican from District 3, sat there quietly, not speaking up for a constituent, not fighting against corruption, not saying, hey, I would like to hear what she says. Hey, I don't think that we should be doing this. She just sat there quietly, going along with it. And listen, I offer the very best to Bethany Keller, and she gets none of this because she was not there. But I will tell you, it's not too far of a stretch to imagine that had she been there, very possibly she too could or would have sat quiet, not doing anything. It will be very important upon her return to find out where she stands on actions such as this. It will be important for the future because the future is coming. And I will tell you that there's no more of this sitting back and waiting. Now is the time. This is where we decide what side of this fight you are on. Are you a good guy or are you one of them? If you're one of them, now we know and we work to get you out of office. Councilors Norick and Keller are supposed to be the good ones. They're considered to be the councilors fighting for the citizens and freedom. But if Norick is unwilling or unable to speak up and is willing to sit by as wrongdoing occurs, then she's no different than the others and she should go. Once Councilor Keller returns, what side of this fight will she fall on? We will be finding out. And that brings me to elected Sheriff John Beeman. I don't know much about Beeman, but I know that everybody over there has looked up to him highly. And I have been very friendly with him. He's been very friendly with me. He was the chief law enforcement officer in the facility last night. He was the highest ranking law enforcement officer there. He was the elected sheriff. His men looked to him to make the action. No council member, nor the council as a whole, outrank Beeman. They're not his boss. They don't tell him what to do. They don't direct him to follow or to laws or to make actions or take actions. That's just simply not how that works. When Beeman was called to the front and Beeman put up a good argument against removing Katherine, and I commend him for doing that. But here's where Beeman then came to the crossroads. Beeman came to a road where he could have turned left or he could have turned right. And turning right would have been turning to the council and saying, I will not remove her. She's not violent. She's not threatening. She's not causing a scene. She has sat down. She's not committed a crime. I'm not going to remove this woman. I am not going to violate her constitutional rights. Because he did not speak up and stop his deputy stop him from removing the other woman. Because he allowed that deputy to remove the other woman, and because he himself then removed Katherine, he is no better than the counselors Gale and Emery and Norick and Likens and Vaughn. He made a mistake. And in a lawsuit, his name is right up there with him. His ass is right on the line. He violated a citizen's rights last night. I watched him do it. Now, it just so happens that he's friends with that citizen and people respect him. He lost some respect in my book. And I'm telling you, he's one of them that we will, and I mean all of this with peace. I'm not saying anything violent or dangerous. Everything I do will, I will not violate the laws. I will not hurt anyone. I'm not speaking violent. I'm not talking out of control. I'm talking all within political theater. I'm talking all within the law, everything within inside the law. Everything I do is within inside what my constitutional rights will be. There will come a time where Beeman will have to decide if he will violate my rights or he won't. And when he violates my rights, that will be a problem. So I hope after tonight, after this discussion with Katherine, maybe they will learn from this. Maybe this situation won't happen anymore. But I'm going to tell you, just like Norick, just like Keller, when the shit hits the fan, that's when we decide where people fall. When everything's quiet and peaceful, it doesn't matter what everybody says. Oh, yeah, I'm on your side. I'm mad at them. I don't like what they do. I agree. But when the shit is hitting the fan, when decisions have to be made to act lawfully or not, that's when it is determined what side of history someone is on. And in this situation, he screwed up. So we're going to be looking at all of this. Oh, and we are now joined by my guest. So, bingo.
She's been here for like 15 minutes. I thought you would have noticed, dude.
Oh, no, I was off. I was reading. someone
was on a
needs
rant.
to
Sorry.
alert me. Yeah,
If
no,
you
we're
only knew where I was at.
good. In jail.
Kinda.
So, all right.
Don't look around the room.
Yeah, what? You're not in your like regular like little hut. It's
We won't say where I'm at location wise, but if you hear about
oh my, I think I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure. Yeah.
not my cowboy hat. So anyways,
oh well.
There's been lots of discussion tonight here. I will tell you that. I will tell you that we've gotten several kids signed up for voting. They've watched this show. They've watched the episode. Some may be joining in tonight. They wanted to be guest speakers, but I didn't know if we were ready for them just yet. They have their own opinions of what they think happened last night. And so I told them the reason why we do this is to make sure we don't go to a communist country and that these kids still have their rights to be able to do what they need to do.
Oh,
so several will be voting now in November.
I love it. That's amazing.
And so now they understand the importance of what's going on and why they need to be involved. So it's actually been a very good night. I didn't know that I was such entertainment at the breakfast table this morning for all these kids. I guess all day long they've been going to lectures and showing this whole video of how these elected officials behave and what now they are all very aware of what First Amendment rights are. They all know what House Bill 1338 is, and they all said to me, "Where are your 3 warnings? We didn't even hear one."
Well, it's
been a great day to see these kids get engaged because of this.
Yeah. Yeah.
And my kids hate politics, but they're all about what just happened last night.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was just a very interesting, I want to tell the people, when I went to that meeting last night, I really didn't go to speak. I wasn't on my radar. Most of you have watched. I haven't spoken at a meeting for months.
Right.
But I went, my win last night was to see if we could fill that room. I didn't need you to speak. I just need you to just show up. I needed these people to look at their employers. That's what I needed.
Yeah.
And I will tell you, thank you, Madison County, because you showed up.
Yeah.
It was a pretty good, decent turnout. And that for me was the ultimate win. I had no idea that they would resort to how they used to behave 3 years ago when I would get up there as the chief deputy coroner. And to see the tantrum, the spiraling out of control was just unbelievable. And then to see an elected councilman recite House Bill 1338 as the reason for having me removed and to watch the attorney agree with this. I'm thinking to myself, maybe the bar should have a problem that you give inappropriate counsel, because believe me, he turned around. Oh, I'm giving counsel to my counsel.
Yeah.
I don't work for you people. I work for the council. Well, I don't know. My tax dollars pay for you to counsel them appropriately. And I want a refund on my money from my account. I mean, I'm just saying, right? And so, because House Bill 1338 says you got to be warned 3 times.
Absolutely it does. Now, again, I fully believe that House Bill 1338 will at some point in the future be tried. I think that, listen.
Well, we might just be on the brink of that.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think there has to be a business has to get done. I am fully aware of that. But the commotion and the chaos and the calamity around what they were doing was far greater than giving you 30 more seconds.
I think Lorraine White summed it up best when she said, so Eckerd is allowed to get up there and lie to the public.
Yeah.
Katherine speaks the truth, and she's the one thrown out.
Yes.
I mean, where are our standards in America anymore? Because it's certainly not in Madison County.
Yeah.
And more of this will make sense for some of you who watch the video, but as we go through this video tonight, because Tom Eckert is the administrative assistant to, I call him the secretary, to, commissioners, Rich, Wine, Likens, and Pratt. Now, illegally, a raise was given to Eckert when he was brought over as head of EMA.
Yep, I
remember the commissioners. That. And then John threw a tantrum because he promised a $10,000 raise. Again, what do these commissioners do? They continue to spend money without it properly being appropriated. That is a criminal violation. Why the prosecutor is not prosecuting these guys for continuing to do that, I have no idea. So when you look at that from a huge big picture of everything, then Tom Eckert clearly isn't qualified to do his job. Councilman Fred Reese said, the job description says you have to have at least a college education.
Yes.
He didn't have a college education. Not only did he not have a college education that met the requirements of his job description, they gave him a $10,000.
Yeah, right. Insane.
And this is the problem. Now you got a man up there. This is why I guess you need a college education. Yeah. And I don't mean any disrespect by that, but he has no type of ethical background to tell the truth.
Yeah.
Bree Davis could do a better job than this, and she's in her 20s. At least she can tell the truth.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I want to state, because you brought her up, and I absolutely loved Laureen. I have known her. When we mentioned this during the last time you were on, I knew who she was without knowing who she was, and we knew of each other, but we really just met for the first real time, and had a conversation at the meeting, the last meeting that I was at, and I love her take on everything, and I very much appreciate that she is. I like what she does, and appreciate her take. And yeah, she was absolutely right in a lot of the things that she was saying last night, as is oftentimes. But yeah, it's insane. So, okay, let me ask you this. So what's the best way to do it? Because I'm gonna put the ball in your court. We've got the resolution up. I think that we've got the article from the paper, and we've got the video ready. Which do you want to go through first?
I really think at this point, people want the main event first.
All right. You want to see the video? Let's do the video.
So we start at 1 minute and 1 hour and 8 minutes or something, or right around there. I think people want the main event. They want to see, how did this spiral out of control?
Yeah.
And then if we have time, because I think, Alva's on here, they'll all have some great commentary of what occurred. So we can watch this, but can somebody?
Wait, so you're saying start where? You're saying start where?
The 1 hour and 8 minute mark, all the way towards the end. Can somebody please count how many times I was warned? Because I'm going to keep track of that.
Yeah, everybody else out there in TV land do the same, but I'm definitely gonna. I was trying to watch it earlier, but I was doing other things, so I'm gonna. Okay, here something just happened. Okay, here we go. We've got it pulled up here. Let me. One hour.
It's right around the 1 hour, 8 minute mark, or 1 hour, 7 minute.
Okay.
This is the grand finale, you guys, but we're just going to start there because I know people get tired. So let's just go right to the guts of it.
All right. Here we go. Okay, this is probably the best way to do it. I'm going to jump from your page and get it there. I've got give me 1 second here. I've got the spinning ball of death. All right, here we go. Okay. So present, share screen. Okay. Yeah, wearing shirts that say "You work for me" would be fantastic. That would be a great idea, McKinney. That would be a fantastic idea. Reminding these people, however we can, would be the way to go, because they need to be made aware of that. Absolutely. Okay, here we go. Here we go. So the meeting was only an hour. The meeting was only an hour and 20 minutes long. So it was a relatively short meeting for Madison County standards. It's pretty short. So, okay. So we're at 1:08:06. Is this an okay place to stay?
Well, this might be this is, I think, Laureen's.
Or should we go back up?
We need to go to this is just a clip.
No. This is the whole thing.
It is? Oh, okay. Yeah. No, about a little bit, go a little bit before that. Okay, so keep going.
Do I go when you're speaking or when he's speaking?
Go when I'm speaking.
Okay.
Okay, so I'm a little after that. That's our Chief Deputy Prosecutor, Andrew Hanna, right?
Yeah. Yeah. You speak right after her, I believe.
Okay, so we can just listen to Tom here. Okay. Well, Tom is the commissioner asking for crap ton of money.
The solar farm attorney, we have a bill from them, $41,000, and we've only got $26,000 in the line item. We also have 2 accidents that we've got to pay for some damages on that. That's in the liability line item. We're anticipating, they're not settled yet, but we're anticipating they'll be in the $30,000 or $40,000 range. So the bills that we have in hand are just over $83,000 or anticipate the accident. And we only have $26,000 left in that line item.
Okay, stop right there. Stop right there.
So we're also anticipating.
Okay.
He just said he has $83,000 in bills. He only has $26,000. He has overspent his budget, and they have spent money that they do not have appropriated. That is illegal.
Yeah.
Now, these gentlemen sat up here with Diana Likens and came up with an ordinance against us in the coroner's office, threatening to sue us. So I would like Mr. Nolting to enforce that ordinance on the commissioners now.
Yeah. I don't understand.
Did I mishear what he just said? Did I mishear what he just said? That he has those bills and he didn't have enough money to pay it.
Yep. And
That's
so
why they're not working with the budget they have at hand.
You know, so are they coming to get an appropriation? What are they planning on doing?
I think if Lorraine's, I think that right now we're at a new monies request. I think
is that what this is?
I think that's what part this is. So let's listen and we'll know here.
For the rest of the year, well, if you approve the 56, we need $56,683 to be exact. But then we'll be back to zero balance for the rest of the year.
Yep. So he's asking them to approve like $56,000
and new money.
So we know we have 2 other cases coming up that we were notified of in the last week or 2 that we'll have attorney fees on those. Both of those will not be minor; they'll be major. So we round that out to $100,000 for the rest of the year. That's the money difference. But right now, we've got to have the $56,683 to pay bills that we have in hand. And we could get another attorney bills tomorrow. You know, we get them. We don't know when we're getting all of them. So that's why we're asking for that line item. The insurance line item, the $25,000 we owe on the premium that I spoke of in the beginning. Right now we have $1,000 left in that line item. So we're asking $25,000 to pay that premium. I will add that I'll be back next month for some more. roll over the cyber insurance in November. That will come due, and obviously we don't have any money left in that line item for that. Anticipate that to be another $15,000 to $25,000 that we'll need for that. We're also going to have workman's comp come due in November. So in October, I'll come back to you, just giving you a heads up. We're going to need additional funds for that, probably around $70,000, $73,000 to pay workman's comp.
Mr. Erickson, where did you start out this year's budget with those line items? Do you remember that?
Which one you like?
Just the insurance and liability. I'm just kind of wondering, did we shorten that? I mean, a little bit.
No, the insurance liability wasn't shortened this year. You didn't take any away from us. We renegotiated our contract in the middle of the year, and it increased.
So stop right there. These morons renegotiated a contract to pay more. And I'm going to call them morons at this point.
Yeah. Yeah.
This is fiscal recklessness. And then you want the taxpayers to pay for this? You have allowed this person, I'm not even going to say gentleman, this person to get up, renegotiate some, cost us more money, and has overspent by what I'm calling right now $81,000 in funds that have not been approved with them. And you know what really makes me mad? Mikhail Vaughn wants to sit there and say he's for the people. Well, why didn't you ask him why he's misappropriating funds right now? Why don't you ask him that, Mikhail? Because you know why? Because you run your mouth.
Yeah.
You run your mouth all the time because you think you're all that in a bag of chips. Well, I got news for you. I'm tired of you running your mouth. You want to run your mouth? Run it to me. I'm tired of the entire council that wants to sit there and hide behind those chairs, but they don't want to answer to the people.
Yeah, Mikhail is not for the people. Before we go on with the video, I saw he's got this thing that he's been putting up, and it's on his page. Now he's got me blocked because he's afraid of me. He's afraid of questions. He's afraid of someone asking questions. But we've got our ways here. What?
He's afraid of somebody exposing him.
Yeah. Well, so we saw this here, and this weirdo calls himself the Bulldog, and he's got the Bulldog, and he's got a little golden bulldog here. And I looked at this, and well, it just caught me kind of weird, and I looked at it, and I looked at it, and I looked at it, and then it hit me, and I thought, oh, I need to fix it a little bit. So we took this, and I just helped him make it a little bit more accurate. So we made this a little bit more accurate for him. It's Mikhail Vaughn, the bullshit. And we've got his little emoji there, and it's everything. So, Mikhail,
you still need to go in there and fix that re-elect.
Yeah, we need to, yes.
It needs to say reject.
Reject. The bullshit. Reject Mikhail Vaughn. So
I got this one right. You know, I'm not usually one to just pound down on somebody, but after his behavior last night, I'm going to pound down, because I'm going to tell you something. It's only going to get way more heated as time moves on. I mean, and that's the whole thing. These people are out of control spending.
Absolutely.
Look how relaxed Tom Eckert is in there. Now, I would have to get up there and beg for $5,000. And these people can just get up there. Oh, I'm just going to need this. It's no big deal. Not one person's blinking an eye. Not one person has a problem that this man has misappropriated funds.
They don't care, man. They're there. They listen. That he's got the little extra little piece thing that he gets up there and gives them the wink. They know he's county. They're going to listen to him. They're going to vote. Just stamp it on through. As long as he's not a citizen, they'll do what he wants. You know, he's good. He's part of them.
I have a problem.
Yeah.
Ted Nolting did everything he could to the coroner's office. He has letters. He has says if we overspend on, let me get this straight, on autopsies, which by state law, they have to give me whatever I spend on autopsies.
Yes.
It is a law. It is a shall. They must give me that.
Yes.
And Nolting sends me these threatening letters. You know what makes it worse? Let me tell you about Mayor Todd Jones out of Elwood and Mayor Nasel Road out of Alexandria. Ted Nolting has sent threatening letters to both of those mayors that if they don't pay, he'll cut off dispatch. You know what? The funds that he is talking about right now would be more than enough to pay for these people. So it is absolutely inappropriate for them to ask the mayors to pay one dime towards dispatch.
Yeah.
Right here shows what's going on.
Yeah. All right. We're moving forward here.
Yeah.
It increased starting May 1st.
Was there a reason for that, just inflation or?
Yeah, there's a lot of reasons for insurance right now.
Well, I understand.
Our current carrier would not give us a price. We went out on the market. It's very difficult with insurance companies and government right now. Our jail's not in the best of shape. We all know that. And that's causing us some problems. The new jail will fix a lot of the problems we've got, not all of them. Insurance is expensive. This one, we just broke a mirror on the Sierra. It's 2 years old, $2,200 for the mirror.
We got that, our deductible?
Yeah. Yeah, we have to pay it. It's $2,000 for a mirror. It's one of those heated ones.
A mirror?
That a car's passing.
What government official needs heated windows or heated mirrors? I want to know what department that's out of. I want to know who that's
on. That is nuts.
Yeah. They need heated windows or mirrors in government vehicles, and yet you stick the coroner's office in a 1999 Ford Explorer that leaks and a 2012 or something Tahoe, and you mean to tell me you got to fix a heated mirror? Well, guess what? Maybe the person driving the vehicle needs to fix that. You've given out enough pay raises; they can just pay for it themselves.
Yeah, right.
Whose mirror does that belong to?
Yeah, right. Who's got a $2,200 freaking mirror?
I mean, it's got all the bells and whistles, these cars. These cars, they're buying premium packages on them. They're not buying just standard issued cars. They're going off the chain with what they buy.
Oh, yeah, no. Well, because it's not their money. Not their money.
I mean, it's just nuts. And I'm not allowed to speak.
Yeah, right.
I think I am allowed.
And I want you, people, I want you to understand, listen, Catherine, people might be like, well, why is it always Catherine? Listen, put Catherine as a placeholder for the public. Put yourself in her position. She's there. She could be you. They're going to treat you the same way they're treating her. They're going to treat anyone getting up and speaking. So, they might not like Catherine, but they don't like her because she calls them out. They're not going to like anybody that questions them. So if you get up and you question them the same way Catherine does, you're going to get this treatment. And that's a problem for people and should be a problem for people.
Well, and I don't want to hear a thing about the jail and the problems in the jail because Commissioner Richwine, I think you've been in there for about 30 years.
Yeah.
That's your problem.
Yeah,
you know what, Likens? I think Likens has been there quite a long time too. That's your problem. You people have screwed over the taxpayers by not doing your job. You know what? Maybe if you get this attorney off of his phone and pay attention to what's going on, we have some work done. Let's pay attention to these people up here. You see how they're all, they're in all, they want to listen to Mr. Ecker. Wait till you see when the public speaks.
That is one of the greatest.
Pay attention to their body language.
Yeah. We're getting ready to see it here.
I'm sorry. I'm being distracted by a lot of chatter in the audience. Please do not be a distraction.
Jesus.
Thank you. Go ahead.
But to answer your question, you did not cut those line items. It's just
excuse me, ma'am. Ma'am, you're done. You're done. Do not speak anymore. Do not be a distraction to our meeting. If you speak again, you will be asked to leave. Go ahead, Tom.
He's already so fired up. He's like ready. Like this is an actual hatred that this man has.
His blood pressure has to be right now about 170 over 100 to 110.
Yeah, right.
Look at his color compared to everybody else.
Yeah.
Right now.
Yeah.
I just asked for John. I didn't know if
it's just
short from last.
No.
Now, in all fairness, Cassie makes me feel the same way, but she wasn't out of control there. She wasn't doing anything wrong. He's like, he knows when he goes into these meetings that he's going to yell at that like corner of the room.
A little more, but you negotiated with it. Okay.
Yes. Okay. Are there any other questions for Tom before we go to the public comment?
Uh-oh.
Now, before we go to public comment,
Yeah.
And this isn't in the numbers today, but it was the cyber insurance. Is that not something that we foresaw, or I guess I don't know where that comes out of?
That's part of the liability insurance company, and that bill will be due in November. So I'll have the price for that.
So that's part of
Next
the
month.
negotiations with.
Yes, it's included in that, yes.
Councilman Bond asked about the three funds. We adopted budget for 24 for insurance is 600,000, attorney fees and bonds 130.
see, they won't speak up loud enough. I think Rob
Yeah.
said 600,000.
Liability insurance. We had 125,000 settlement.
This is not
The only
okay
one
what they're
that was
doing
left
here.
is the attorney fees.
Yeah, a lot of that is, those were estimates last year. It's all-
But the liability started 100.
Yeah, that was all based off of what the policy was, and then the insurance carrier at the time would
Because we
not,
renegotiated.
they would not renew at that rate, and so then that caused an increase in making sure the county was covered with insurance, so.
Okay, now stop a
but
minute.
One thing,
Okay.
It's caused an increase because it's just like Henry County.
Yeah.
These guys can't get out of their own way. They
Yeah.
keep getting sued.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's a big issue. But here's the thing. He even said, no, you gave us what we asked for last year.
Yeah.
That's not what they still don't have enough money to cover it, even though they got what they needed, right?
Yeah.
And here's the reason why. There's been so many line transfers out of their insurance lines. And the reason why is because they're used to coming back and saying, well, now the insurance line's not got enough money in it. So now we need money. Who's going to say no to insurance? Nobody.
Well,
Even the
sure.
public.
Right.
Even the public's going to say, yeah, give it to the insurance. But what the public doesn't know, they've been skimming out of the insurance lines the whole entire year. That's what's nobody's paying attention to. And the fact that nobody said anything that he has already spent almost 81,000 is a problem. I mean, that's and exactly what Sean just said. They're raising your rates because you keep getting sued.
Yeah. 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 And you address that here in a moment, and they're like, what? Or someone does, and they're like, well, we're not getting sued. Okay. All right, here we go.
thing that they did put some thought into is, like Tom said, they changed the date so that now they're able to give us the price for the following year at budget time, so we can more accurately budget for that. Okay, well, this is a general fund new money request. So again, the same public comment process. State your name, where you're from, and 3 minutes, please.
You don't have to state where you're from. I hate that.
Katherine Callahan. I'm a little confused. Maybe you can help me understand this. You guys just transferred money for the commissioners out of an insurance line. And that was their third request out of that line. And now they're here today asking you for all kinds of money in all these different line items. So I'm very confused. After listening to the statements of Mr. Eckert, kind of sounds like they spent money before it was appropriated. Kind of illegal. Sounds like you're going to need even more attorneys, because as you give special privileges to people and they don't have to pay their fines, maybe some other community member will find that this is kind of not okay, that you're picking and choosing, and so you get sued again. At what point are the commissioners held accountable to pay their own dumbness? I don't know, whatever word you want to call it, because this is just absolutely ridiculous. That we are, how much money total tonight has he asked for?
A lot.
And he's saying, I'm going to come back, I'm going to ask you for even more. But yet we're not going to collect fines. We're not going to make sure that department heads are doing their jobs. I mean, this is absolutely out of control spending. And to me, it sounds like this is the most expensive commissioner's office yet to date.
And you left before your 3 minutes was up.
I did.
Is there
And
anybody else?
People
What?
if people have followed me for the past 3.5 years, every meeting I would go in as chief deputy and ask for money, Ben Gale, Anthony Emery, Rob Steele, Diana Likens, and Jerry Alexander would scream, "You are the most expensive coroner's office to date." It gets expensive when you're doing a startup coroner's office that's never been run efficiently or correctly. It's expensive.
Right.
And so, I mean, we didn't even have a desk. I didn't have a chair. So yeah,
Oh,
it gets a little pricey. I don't know what the excuse of a 30-year commissioner is. He's been in that seat for a long time. So that's why I made the comment. They're the most expensive commissioners, and how much experience do they have?
Yeah.
I'll tell you what they got experience on: screwing over the taxpayers, spending all their money, and thinking that there is an endless well of money just coming. And just like Stumblefoot said, they'll just keep printing it.
Yeah.
You know, these guys are going to keep taking until enough people in this county get pissed off enough, show up at these meetings and say, where is this money going?
Absolutely. So
That's the problem.
So you spoke, and apparently, like, Eckert didn't want to leave it at that. So he's like, well, I want to get back up and
I'm going to
kinda
address
off-
Janet here. I'm going to address Janet. Janet, I
Okay.
have a lot of offense to this comment, and I'm tired of hearing it from anybody. I don't care where somebody lives. So when Christopher comes to Anderson, he shouldn't be there? Is that what you're saying?
So, okay.
Who cares?
Here's the deal, because I do want to say that, because a lot of people. So, all right. Here's the thing, because a lot of people have done that to, when I moved to Winchester. I lived in Winchester. I was a tax-paying citizen of Winchester, and I would go to the Winchester City Council meetings, and I ran for office. And the people over there, when I ran, they said to me, "You need to go back to Muncie. You don't belong here. You're not from here." And I'm like, dude, you guys were born here. I get it. I chose to live here. I think I'm more bigger than you are. I chose to live here. So I finally assimilated into them, but you never truly assimilate in. But I had also lived and lived all my life in Muncie, and I still followed what happened in Muncie. So I would come over here, and what they would tell me is, you don't have a right to speak over here. You live in Winchester. And I'd be like, I'm a citizen. I have a First Amendment right. I could drive to Seattle and speak at a Seattle council meeting. So then people started asking me for help all over East Central Indiana. And I would go to various places. And the thing that always happens is I go in someplace and people are always like, wait a minute. Where are you from? That's the reason I always say it's very important. They don't, saying that you've got to tell them where you live. The only meeting that you have to give your address is a township trustees meeting. And I'm okay with that. And the reason I'm okay with that is because that is a meeting. Those are places where they actually give money to the people who live within their township, and they have that capability. So I'm fine with that. If I go to a township trustee meeting, I don't have a problem following those rules. But it's just like watching Channel 13 News or watching New York News. If they come to Indiana to do a story, we don't say that they can't participate in the process because they're from New York. They're an American citizen. They have a right to speak. Now, I don't think that Janet meant anything by it, but I get where Katherine's coming from, because there will be people who will ask me that, and it tends to set me off too, because
Gail does it to everybody. And I'll guarantee you they're going to say something to you at the next council.
Oh, absolutely. I promise you.
Yeah, I mean,
that's
and
why.
That's how I hope you look at him and go, I don't know, Ted Nolting's not from here and he gets to speak.
Well, no. If they push the envelope, I've got a present for him. So I've got I got a present ready for them, and we'll see how much they like it or not. But yeah, that's that. So
what happens now is they don't like what I had to say. None of them look at me.
Right.
They're all busy doing whatever they need to do because they're just
Yep.
like, oh, she's just going to fall on deaf ear, right?
yeah,
So now wait to see what Ben does.
yeah.
That wants to speak to this issue?
It's ridiculous.
If not, we have Tom, would you like to respond?
Oh, would you like to
I'll just make
respond?
one comment that none of these lawsuits, none of this stuff, the commissioners have never been sued.
And to that we say, what? The commissioners have never been sued? I mean, is that a joke?
I'm sorry. Wes Likens sued the commissioners.
Yeah.
Diana Likens is sitting right there. Now, she looks like she doesn't have a brain cell in her head right now. And she's looking with these puppy dog schoolgirl eyes. And not one time do you look up and say, that's not true. My husband sued them. And then his mother, Commissioner Likens, made sure she got on the commissioners and made sure she voted on her son's lawsuit and made the taxpayers pay $150,000 or more for her husband's lawsuit that sued the commissioners.
Yeah. That whatever happened with that crap was insane. That was nuts what they had going on over there.
And
The
not one
commissioners have
person,
absolutely been sued.
yeah, and not one person says a word to this.
Yeah.
They've all failed. I don't care if I'm friends with anybody. At this point, all of you have failed by not saying that the commissioners have been sued.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, here we go now. So he's going on with that nonsense, and you've sat down and we can see your head here.
Yeah.
We cover the commissioner's budget, we cover all departments. Right. And like the solar farm, that's the plan. Right. For their attorney, we cover all of those costs. So these costs are countywide, they're not just our department. Right.
Okay.
But you do get tort. I mean, that's a regular process every year we get through this.
Yes.
We all get tort.
And that's what he was explaining. If another department gets sued, the commissioners are the ones that have.
We're the
to
ones
pay.
responsible
Right.
to pay for it.
Right.
Respond to it.
I mean, it's
Okay.
So you got up again because you want to, I guess, redress what was just said. You want to, what were you going to say?
I guess this is my question. Is it legal for a county appointed or elected official to get up, lie to the public in order to get his funds approved? Is it okay? Because he just lied to the public. He just lied to the public.
I don't know that it's illegal. I don't know that there's a law against it. I mean,
So
I
you
don't
can
think
lie
it's
to the public
good.
of why you need money. You can lie to the public of why you need money. They give you the money thinking that that's what you're really using it for.
Yeah.
I don't
yeah,
know.
I mean,
This slip and slide of money
yeah. Yeah,
sounds
that it's
a little
not
beyond
good.
the take. Because now I'm worried, how much are we putting in our pockets?
Yeah.
I mean, you guys have never been sued. We're paying an awful lot of lawsuits with the commissioner's name on it. So are you telling me that those weren't really cases and that money just went into your pocket?
Right. So, man, I'm getting nervous because I've watched this so many times and I know what's getting ready to happen. All right, so all you people out there who are going to write this down or keep this in your mind, this is where we're going to listen to how many warnings they give to Katherine. And or I want you to tell me if you think that this is all one incident, if you think it's several different incidents or what the deal is. Okay. So Tom Eckert is sitting down and Katherine's because he spoke, she spoke, he spoke, and she's now going to, how much.
I'm just going to call him on his lie. That's all I was going to do.
Okay. So it was going to take you, 30 seconds?
Yeah. I'm just going to say, I'd like to know why Wes Likens sued the commissioners. I mean, just simple stuff.
Okay. All right. So it would have been less than a minute.
Yeah.
All right. Here we go. Now, and okay, so from the time he yells, we're going to keep track of how long this all takes. So you could have spoke in under a minute. All right. Compared to now, watch what happens here.
Is there any? No.
All right. So he says no. He says that at 1:45. All right. Now listen.
And go sit down. Go sit down.
He's allowed to
No,
respond, I'm allowed to
no,
respond.
ma'am, you need to leave. Please.
Okay, so I don't understand. I mean, he can't. First of all, he can't decide which one of you he's yelling at. He
has no control.
Yeah, right. That's the problem. He is like, oh God, man, I'm telling you, he is. Oh, I cannot stand this guy.
Please leave. Please leave. Yeah, we'll have an officer escort
If
you out.
other facilities.
Excuse me, ma'am,
are
have a
not-
seat.
If other departments.
Have a seat.
Okay, so he banged on the gavel and he told you to have a seat. Who's this deputy here?
I don't know his name, to be honest with you.
Okay,
He
so
works the front security area.
Okay.
But I don't know his name. I see him all the time, but I don't know his name.
okay, so this dude's in the wrong. All right, so here's
Because right now, how many times was Cassie warned?
she was warned once.
Exactly.
She was warned one time a few minutes ago, and then that was that. He didn't, if they're going off 1338, they violated the 1338 deal with what they just did with Cassie.
Mhm.
So that's a clear violation.
Have a seat, or you can leave as
So
well.
how is that?
Have a seat, or you can leave as well. He's not giving,
Not a warning.
whatever. Okay, and right now we're still just at 1:12:06, so we're 15 seconds from this all starting.
Fair that you're not listening to people.
Mrs.
rebuttal.
Callahan, have a seat now, or you can
I
join in
just
the
want to make
meeting.
sure you've made your point. But
Okay, have a seat now, or you can, and you turn around. You're walking away, so you're walking away at 1:12:13.
You aren't allowed to speak. They sure are. On new money.
We allow appropriate comments.
I
How would he know?
Okay,
How would he know
appropriate
the appropriate
comments.
comment? I didn't get to speak.
Yeah, what I think that he did by him, I love that he said that, because what I believe by him saying that is this is content-based discrimination. I
Well, he
think
didn't want me to call out the lie.
yeah, right. But what I mean is, so by him saying that, he's saying because he doesn't think, because you're who you are, I'd be like, what is this? Is it because I'm Asian?
Well, here's the
You know
thing.
what I mean?
The public comment doesn't say you can only speak
Viewpoint
one
bias.
time.
Yeah, right.
Right?
No.
It says in a 3-minute increment. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, now we've introduced new material. Right.
Yeah, right.
Now,
Right.
now they're telling us, the commissioners, well, I should be able to respond to new material.
Yeah. Yeah.
He doesn't allow me to do that. And then here's the thing. He should shut his mouth, because if he's going to poke the audience, you can't think that you're not going to get a response. I don't
Yeah.
know what kind of house he lives in, but if you're going to run your mouth and tell me I
Yeah.
didn't say something that's appropriate, oh no, I'm going to defend myself.
Yeah. Sean says it's clearly one event. This is clearly one event, and you're sitting down as you've said. Okay. So the meeting's not going on. They're not talking. They've just escorted Cassie out. Nothing's happening. So watch what happens here. Okay. Watch what happens here.
I think mine was. You
Ma'am?
don't know what I had to say.
You can go ahead and leave as well.
You can go ahead and leave as well.
And look at Diana. Oh, come get her. Come get her. Like, Diana's always running to get a sheriff.
Yeah.
You're out of order. Could I have somebody from the sheriff's department help Miss Callahan out as well?
Calm down, she'll leave. You are outrageous. You guys are outrageous.
Who's talking?
That's Cassie. They're still escorting Cassie out.
Okay.
Absolutely outrageous. It's wasteful.
It is. I mean, it's ridiculous.
We'll continue the meeting, Sheriff, after once you're done.
So listen, what he just says here, this is important, okay? And he says that at 1 minute, 12 seconds, and 1 hour, 12 minutes, and 45 seconds. So that's exactly 1 minute after the very first time he told you no. So when he everything was fine, Tom had just sat down, and he saw you out of the corner of his eye, and he said no. He said no at 1:11:45. At 1:12:45, he says, we'll continue the meeting after this. So he's, for all intents and purposes here, okay, he's stopped the meeting. He said, we'll continue
Here's the
in a
thing.
minute.
We're still in public comment.
Yeah, absolutely. But watch what happens here.
It helps Mrs. Callahan exit the chambers.
No one's coming up. No officers, no deputies are coming up. Okay.
No one will come.
No one's coming. Good on them. Now, Beeman has walked up and is along your side at this point, and we're going to hear Sheriff Beeman start to talk to you.
No.
And he says something. What did he say? He said, "Are you going to leave?"
He says, do you want to go? And
He
I
said, "Do you want to leave?" And
yeah.
you said no.
No.
Okay, listen to what she says next.
I haven't done anything wrong.
I haven't done anything wrong. All right, listen to next.
No. And if you want to arrest me, we can go that route.
She said, if you want to arrest me, we can go that route.
But I've not done anything wrong.
But I've not done anything wrong, which I fully believe she's correct in. Okay.
And you
So-
look at McHale with his smirk. McHale thinks
Oh, yeah.
this is just funny business.
Yeah.
Not protecting the public at all.
Yeah, she's pissed off. Norik's like thinking about running through and getting
I
something
can't
to eat
even
when it's
imagine
over.
what kind of cop Emery is.
Oh, yeah.
There's
I mean,
no
he's
due process
shitting
here.
himself.
He has got to be the worst cop I've ever seen in my life. No due
Yeah.
process.
Yeah, Emery's a joke.
Yeah.
These people
He is a disgrace to state troopers.
are all ridiculous. Okay, so now watch what happens here.
He needs to show me what I violated.
So you said he needs to show me what I violated. Okay, all right. So then that gives Beeman an option to now he's going up here to talk to them.
And I give it to Beeman. He's fighting for the people. I mean, he truly is fighting for the people. He is up there fighting. And this is the thing. He was in a rock and a hard place too. He was fighting for the people. He's trying to do the right thing. He knows there's been no violations. We can agree to disagree on this, but Beeman did the best he could do in the situation he was in.
I will agree with that at this point. Okay, so at this point, I will still agree with that. So let's hear what happens.
He told her to sit down. She's sitting down.
Yes, but she was not recognized to speak. She was creating a distraction.
What do you mean she was not recognized to speak? It's public comments. You got up to speak in the public comments, and he told you no. After a little bit of back and forth, you sat down. So his interpretation of events there is wrong. Okay, here we go on.
To the meeting, she was speaking out of turn.
You're speaking out of turn.
You told her to sit down. She's sitting down.
Excuse me. We don't need to make this any more than what it is.
Who's making this any more than what it is? Look how long. Look, your minute would have been up. Say you could have said what you would have said in 30 seconds. Look how long they've now delayed this in doing what they're doing. We're coming up. We're now past 2 minutes.
And here's the thing: they're in a private meeting now. They're having an executive session right now.
Yeah. Okay, so watch what because we can still kind of technically hear them for a second. Here's where it gets real quiet.
He's helping on it.
Now, at this point, I was thinking, and it's amazing, at this point, I was thinking, man, if I would have been here right there, first of all, I would have been up causing a scene too, but meaning trying to speak, causing a scene in their eyes. But if I would have been in the audience at this point, I would have been like, hello, could you speak up so we can hear you? Much like I did during the election board meeting, because they cannot, the Public Access Council has been very clear about this. And I would have said that exact same thing. and Sean does it.
Yep.
Or who? What?
Sean Smith says
Yeah,
it.
Sean Smith. Yeah. So listen to what Sean says here.
Sheriff, under the two state, and I don't know if you.
Okay, and here's where McHale, Captain Bullshit, brings up the Prescott law.
That's Ted. Under the new state statute, the state legislators passed. It brings it back. I don't know, Councilman Go, you read it. It brings it back to the county where we vote on the resolution.
And I'm telling you, and I'm going to stand by this. And we got attorneys in here. Maybe they agree, maybe they disagree. But I'm telling you, from the attorneys that I've spoken with, and I'm currently in a First Amendment federal civil rights lawsuit as we speak. I currently have a 1983 First Amendment lawsuit going on as we speak. I have an attorney who is the chief staff attorney for the ACLU who's representing me, Gavin Rose. I'm telling you, from where I'm sitting, I fully believe that House Bill 1338 is unconstitutional. And I have fully believed that it will be challenged one day sooner, apparently, rather than later. But so what he's bringing up, I think, is totally all made up on bullshit. I think it is an unlawful. What?
Because it's a disaster.
Yeah.
Because he doesn't even know what the law states.
Yeah, right. And they've not followed, even if it was legitimate, they've not followed what is technically in that paperwork.
And then that is enforced by the county. State legislature passed that this last year. So,
Ted, go ahead.
Can Ted put his microphone on? It's a public meeting, correct? You're addressing the council in a
Excuse
public
me.
meeting.
Please be quiet. You're interrupting the meeting now as well.
No, this is not a meeting. The meeting has been paused since 1
Oh,
minute.
no. I'm so glad he said it's a meeting.
Yeah,
They're
well,
in an executive meeting.
Sure,
He just admitted to the public they're in a private meeting. Did
Right.
you post that meeting anywhere?
Yeah, right.
Did you tell us we're having an executive meeting?
That's what I'm getting. That's what I'm getting at. So that's what I'm saying. At 1 minute, at 1 hour, 12 minutes, at 1:11:45, you guys start having your battle. At 1:12:45, he says, we're going to stop until this is taken care of. So he paused it. Now, for him saying that, that's what gave Sean, in my opinion, the right to say what he said. And Ben was completely wrong in what he just said there. And I think it's complete bullshit. I have a correspondence into the Public Access Counselor about this, so we'll find out here soon. But let's hear what goes on from here.
Yeah, I mean, the council has the ability to see that their meetings are conducted in an orderly manner. Public is allowed to be here and play their part, but they're not allowed to disrupt or steer the meeting.
This is the biggest disruption.
So why should she be treated maybe?
No, I'm just looking at the state statute. What's the, like you said, the trespass?
It's the procedure.
So at this point, what they're talking about right here, you can't hear. And this is what you need to know. The lady at the podium's an attorney.
Yeah, right.
She has defended the coroner's office many times over in violations against this council.
Yeah.
Okay? So she's sitting there so she can hear. But what they want to do is they want to charge me with trespassing.
Right.
The demon's like, whoa, no. That is not going to happen. So now we've gone to she's violated the speaking to now she's trespassing.
Which
nobody knows what we're doing up here.
This
Well, that's
clearly,
the problem, though, is that 1338 also mentions trespass.
yeah,
And that's why they're calling that up,
yeah,
because
Yeah.
trespass is included in that 1338.
absolutely.
Well, but
That-
Beeman says this is a public building.
yeah, well, yeah, right. That's the thing. So
he's like, I'm
that's
not
the
even
reason.
going there with that.
That's the reason 1338 is so convoluted and bullshit, because this does not meet the trespass statute for what's happened here. This is not how that works. The council's idiots. They don't know how it works.
The attorney doesn't know how it works.
Sure, he's an idiot. I am a police officer, a former police officer. I have arrested people on trespass. This is not something I would have thought. I mean, I would never in a million years thought, oh, yep, she's trespassing. We're going to take her in. That's insane. I know that's what Beeman is thinking. He did not have probable cause to arrest you for trespass here. That's insane.
And
so
what
then
Beeman ends up doing is he says to them, I'm going to be crystal clear with all of you. There are no charges on Katherine. Are we
Sure.
all clear? I mean, like he's making, because they're really wanting something charged. I mean,
right.
This is what this council has done with the State Board of Accounts with me.
Yeah.
They have always tried to find something they can to charge me with. And I'm going to say this. While all of you think that Beeman took me out, that he shouldn't have done that. Let me tell you what Beeman did do. Beeman took these guys down a rabbit hole. They went into an executive meeting. They took the bait. Beeman's like, oh, we're going to go up here. We're going to make some decisions. We're going to have a little private meeting up here. That's a violation. So kudos to Beeman for going up there and having a little meeting with him.
I'll stick with you on that for a second.
So I'm just telling you guys.
I'm going to tell you where we disagree here just in a few moments.
Which is that resolution statute.
Right.
That's what you got to follow. What
Right.
state statute.
Yeah. Right.
I think you give a warning and then.
Yeah, a warning was given. She can
One.
disrupt the meeting, so she needs to be removed from the meeting.
One warning. This is what they're saying. A warning was given. That's what they said. One warning.
Hold on. Yeah. Okay. So, one warning was given.
And Beeman says, are you sure you want to do this? They're like, yeah. He goes, okay. And see, I'm very nice. I'm not
Is your
disruptive.
comment
Oh, yeah,
about
sure.
the new money request?
Okay, and now he's yelling at Lorraine. Now, so is it safe to assume that you are exiting with him now?
Yeah, I'm climbing over chairs, actually, is what I'm doing. It was quiet because people are there, so I'm trying to get through the chairs to get out
Without causing a
So, but back that up just a couple seconds. Does he call the meeting back in?
No. Watch what happens here.
A warning was given. She continued to disrupt the meeting, so she needs to be removed from the meeting.
Well, that's what I said. There's no penalty to it.
See, Beeman's putting it back on them. And in all fairness to
Hold
Beeman,
on.
he's like,
Is your comment about the new money request?
It is.
Once this is finished, then we'll have you begin.
Once this is finished, we'll have you begin. Hold on.
so they've had a private
State your
meeting.
name, and we'll give you 3 minutes.
Laura,
Okay, so that he said that at right on the dot, 1:16:45. So 1:11:45 to 12:45, 13:45, 14:45, 15:45, 16:45. 5 minutes. 5 minutes. He caused this chaos and delayed when Jody Norick could have spoke up and said, I would be interested to hear what she has to say. Can we give her 30 seconds?
Anybody could have jumped in there. And you know what the other thing is? I'm Asian.
Sure.
Laureen's white.
Yeah, that's very interesting.
And here's the thing. All he said was, just state your name.
Yeah.
They have a federal case if I go up there and don't state my name.
Yeah. Mikhail could have said, let's hear what she's got to say. Rob Steele could have said it. Emery could have said it. Ben could have been like, yeah, I'll give you 30. Likens could have said it, but no, they didn't. They wanted to suspend the meeting for 5 minutes and cause all that chaos over 30 seconds in time. Now, I fully understand and respect everything that you're saying about Beeman, and I'm going to tell you, I've got to lay it out here so the people are watching, and hopefully, so if the council's watching, and hopefully Beeman's watching. I know that he has in the past. Hopefully he's watching this, because hopefully this is learning. Okay? First of all, none of those council members in there are his employer or over him. They're elected council members. He's the elected sheriff. They don't control him. They don't run him. They don't run the show. You know, they could ask him various things and he could say yes or no on a lot of different things. In 2017 is when I was arrested in the Winchester City Council meeting for speaking in the public meeting. That lawsuit went into effect and it was settled in 2019. Sometime in either late 2018 or early 2019, the town of Gaston asked me to come and assist them with a situation. And I had been to several meetings and it had been very contentious and we had fought back and forth. And on most of those meetings, either the chief or the deputy chief of the police department stood in the meetings. But on one specific council evening that I was there, they had a lowly reserve there. He was a reserve. And this reserve wasn't just like some doofus. He had been a police officer for a long time. He knew what he was doing, but he was a reserve. He wasn't paid. He wasn't the chief. He wasn't the highest. Beeman's the sheriff. This man was just a reserve. We're going back and forth with this council, and they're beating the gavel, and I'm speaking, and I'm not violent, and I'm not crazy. I was not any more crazy than what you were, and you weren't crazy. But the lady keeps beating and keeps telling me I need to leave. She told me to leave twice, and I told her, no, I'm not leaving. The second or third time she told me to leave, she then told the officer that he needed to come remove me. He did not walk up and have a consult with him. He stood up where he was in the back of the room, and he said, we're in a public meeting, in a public building, and I am not getting myself in a lawsuit. You've all heard what's happened in Winchester. Now, he didn't know that it was me, that the thing had happened in Winchester. He was just mentioning that. He said, I'm not getting involved with that. He has the First Amendment right to be here and speak. And that lowly reserve made that decision, and that was an appropriate decision. And I fully understand and respect everything that you said about Beeman, up until the point that Beeman told them, there's nothing here, I don't want to do this, blah, 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 and then turned around and escorted you out. Because when he walked you out, he violated your First Amendment right, period. He violated your First Amendment right when he walked you out of that building. He let them violate your right, and he violated your right. And the whole thing, the reason I'm saying that is, he apparently is a good guy. He's one of the good guys. And I just would hate for his name to be on the lawsuit next to the bad guys. And so at the end of the day, I'm just saying one of these days, the people on all of these sides are going to have to make a final determination on where they're at. And I don't believe that Beeman is on their side. I don't believe that. And I respect Beeman. I like Beeman. I don't have any ill will towards him. I just think, I know he was in a rock in between a hard place. But you know what would happen? You know what would have happened if Beeman would have turned around and told them no? You want me to tell you why I'm so upset with what Beeman did? Because if Beeman would have turned around and said, she's not been violent, she's not disrupting, and I'm not going to remove her, that would have stopped this bullshit. That would have put a plug in their ass. And it would have, he could have went a long way to stop this. But because, see, everyone keeps waiting for someone to do something. We were waiting for the sheriff to do something. We're waiting for the prosecutor to do something. And everyone's too afraid to move. Someone has to step up to the plate to show these people enough is enough. If Beeman would have just turned around and said, I'm not taking her out of here, can go on with the meeting, this would have been over. What say you? I'll give you the last word, then we'll continue.
I mean, I guess if you look at it, I can understand where you're saying that. And I will tell you that Beeman is a very fair man. I bet you at some point Beeman's going to watch this, or his wife will watch this. They will share this information probably with each other, or somebody will say something. And, you know, this is his first time as an elected sheriff. He may make that call at some point. He may push back at some point and say, you know what? He may even meet with his deputies and say, this is how we're going to handle this moving forward. Because this, now that he's had time to look up House Bill 1338, and these guys made up their own little ordinance or whatever, how they think should go on in the meetings. It's much stricter than House Bill 1338. I didn't think you could be stricter than state laws. You can be looser than them, but you can't be stricter than them, I don't believe.
Correct.
And so I don't even know that their ordinance is legal. So they've got an ordinance.
And we've got, I don't know how well you can see this. Not good enough. It's on the page. I think I can read it off my phone. We have the thing that they passed. Someone just messaged me and said, whose blank room is Katherine in? Saying exactly where you are, and they could tell.
Yeah, we're not bringing that up on social media, everybody.
I love it. I think
so,
it's
but
hilarious.
you know what somebody just sent me? They said, remember this.
Yep.
They could cut off all of Beeman's money if he went against them.
No, bullshit. You know,
I'm just telling you.
No, I don't give a damn about that.
And here's the thing: you can say bullshit to that. You can say bullshit to that. But I'm going to tell you something. That's exactly what they did to the coroner's office.
Yeah, they can. Yeah, right. No, I'm saying they can do that. They could do that.
The state code said that one of the things they have to fund is public safety.
Well,
okay, don't you start with me, because the one thing they have to fund is autopsies.
Yeah, the coroners,
and they didn't.
No, listen. I'm not saying bullshit as in they can't. I'm saying, yeah, you're right. And that's what I'm saying. Listen, I like Beeman. I'm not mad at Beeman. I'm saying, oh no, wait, where'd she go? I like that. This is like getting serious.
Come on, Kate, get back on here.
No, this is fantastic, because this is what I mean. And Beeman, I hope you're listening to this. And man, I'm not hating on you. This is what I mean. Okay? This is what I mean. Yes, they can defund him and hurt him and do all of that if he dares stand up to them. If he dares to stand up and say, I'm not going to violate a citizen's right. Because at the end of the day, he violated your rights. He allowed them to push him into violating your rights. All right? Whether you do anything with that or not, that's on you, whatever. But that's happened, okay? Maybe it's not that big a deal. You guys are friends, so you probably won't do it. I get it. What I'm saying is, if he would have turned to them and said, I'm not going to do that, it would have stopped this. Now, that would have burnt their ass. And you're probably right. They probably would have then started hurting him. And that's where he would have had to get in. You guys elected him to not be part of the corrupt bullshit.
Well,
that's where he would need to start going to the media. He would need to dig in and say, all right, we're going to the mattresses. He'd have to start taking this to the people. He'd have to start. You guys are trying to change a mindset over there. You're trying to change your corruption.
Yeah, I'm not so sure he's not on that path, because I can tell you something, and I'm not speaking for Beeman, but I can see the disgust in Beeman. And I think Beeman's a little bit over these councilmen, these commissioners, Russ Willis, the elected clerk, Linda Smith, using his guys as pawns.
I'm sure he is.
This is the same bull crap that happened at the front door when they wouldn't let Joswiak in to canvass. So at some point, I got a strange feeling Beeman's going to push back and say, all right, we're all going to stand down.
Well, I sure hope that happens, because let me tell you, the clock is ticking and he's only got 2 terms. And when he's gone, who are we going to have then?
Well, Larry
you
Savage.
you guys really did a thing by getting him elected. He is a really good person to be elected. So he could help fight some of this.
Well, and
Yeah, but he needs to grow a pair of balls and remember that he's an elected official and he has access to the media and all the same
Yeah.
shit that they do.
That they do.
So when
He
they
is a
fuck with him,
yeah.
though, they're fucking with all the public.
Yeah.
Well, and I think it's I think
He
last
needs
night
to
was
call him
kind of,
out.
yeah, it was kind of the straw that broke the camel's back. Like, okay, now
I hope.
And I think the real take home message was when nobody would come up. There must have been at least 5 to 6 sheriffs in the back room. There were several sheriffs back there. It wasn't just Beeman by himself and the security people who are normally there. There were a lot more presence. You know who also was back there? Several prosecutors were back there. No one is saying a word. Even,
sure.
Even the prosecutors are back there and they're watching this whole thing play out. So I think that it's kind of this was an interesting situation. I think we are going to be starting to become leaders in what's happening here. You can't get your feathers all riled because somebody wants to call out a lie from an appointed official.
I agree. I agree.
If you can't handle the pressure, then get out of the seat, Ben Gale.
Right.
What more? I get it. Ben Gale's not coming back after December. I get it. He needs to go ahead and leave right now.
Yeah.
Because here's the bottom line. He says in the budget meetings, well, we don't go through these budgets with a fine-tooth comb. All right, pay me back your salary, get the hell out of that seat, and get somebody caucused in there who can actually go through it with a fine-tooth comb. Because the reason why you're not doing that is this white-shirted guy up here, Auditor Rick Gardner, he's sliding in raises every single year for his employees out of his slush fund.
Right.
And you know what? Quite honestly, I think the FBI needs to come in and say, you guys just admitted that on video. He's in malfeasance, I believe, because he's not doing the job that he was elected to do by going through the budget with a fine-tooth comb. Gardner abused his power as an auditor by sliding in money and sliding in raises without anybody noting. These two dinglings, they admitted to each other on video, and nobody has a problem with this. Not one elected official sitting up there last night could say, yeah, we're talking about the budget. We need to talk about Gardner's. I got a real problem with that. I got sheriffs standing in back. I got tons of sheriffs sitting in that back room. They go out the door every day. Every day. They don't know if they're coming back home to their families. Rick Gardner is making $30,000 than some of these deputies that are on the roads. Are you kidding me? He is about as worthless as tits on a board. And you're telling me he gets that kind of money? The only reason why he's gotten that money, let me tell you something. He started out in that seat at $60,000. Do you know in the last 4 years, he's given himself over a $15,000 raise?
That's insane.
And you people don't have a problem with this? You don't have a guy who only shows up once in a while? This guy doesn't even do his own reports. This guy pays another outside firm $400,000 to do those nice graphs and those nice pie charts.
Yeah.
You see him stand up there and talk, he can't even explain one of them. He can't even read. If this guy was in one of my classes giving a speech, he'd get an F because he doesn't even know what the hell he's talking about.
Right.
And this guy wants to say, I got 8 years of experience. Are you kidding me?
I'm sorry. How much money is it that they need to cut out of the budget?
His salary and some. I'm telling you. So they need $1.3 million. Well, if they took out and made these guys actually do their job as auditors, they'd save about $300,000 to $400,000 from not using that outside firm. If he'd quit being in there slip and sliding with raises, we'd have, other things. And that's the thing. He's like, well, we can pay so much out of this fund. We can pay so much out of this fund. Eventually it ends up with the taxpayers. And I'm going to tell you something right now, Madison County. This, what do I want to, manipulating, thieving auditor sits here and says he gets to take it out of his plat books. Well, here's the thing. Those auditors have to touch the plat books. Not every auditor touches the plat books. Do you know that in the past, they used to have people who were assigned, when you look on the Indiana government payroll, right? It says this person's the bookkeeper. This person's the plat book person.
Yeah.
What does he admit to during the budget hearings? Well, each year we change around who's touching the plat book so we can give raises. Okay. So that's what you're doing to manipulate it. I'm listening to you. But you know what? You got 15 of you in there. Not all 15 of
not
you
everybody's
are
touching that
the entire year. So here's the problem. You're giving out raises. You're saying that you're giving them because of the plat book. Well, that's funny. You mean to tell me every single one of them are plat book employees? Because when you look back in 21, 22, you only had 2 people touching the plat books. So I'm tired of the lying, and it's only going to get worse. Because, and I'm going to tell you why. This behavior, this sickness, this let's hide my property taxes. I don't have to show you that I paid back the people. Let me, slip and slide this money around. Let me do all these things. He has trained Todd Culp to be no different.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Right.
So now what they're saying is Todd shouldn't have his salary. Todd should go up to this one's salary because he's coming with 8 years of experience. 8 years of experience means he's doing the reports. 8 years of experience means he can recite everything that's going on in that office too. That's not happening. Do you know this is the only department in Madison County that has two chief deputies?
Yeah, that's always weird. Anytime someone does that, it's got to be like you got to wonder like what's going on there. That's really strange. I don't really understand the point of that. I mean, all they're doing is giving somebody else more money for
and that's the thing.
Just to give someone else more money.
And these are the people who are in charge of payroll. These are the people who are over payroll. How many times is Russ Willis? He's got honest time clocks, honest time cards. I've seen him 8 to 4 Monday through Friday. How many times is he running an election board meeting for well over an hour?
Sure.
Lunch hour.
Sure.
We can all just go with that.
Absolutely.
I mean, and that's what I'm saying. These people are part of the problem. They are. They are allowing ghost employment to take place, and nobody is calling anybody.
They are. Well, you are, and you're calling people to it, and other people are.
And so what happens?
And that's why
I'm the one thrown out.
What?
And I'm the one thrown out.
And you're the one thrown out. And that's all right. And so that brings us full circle. That's why I want to make it very clear. I don't have a problem with Beeman. I like Beeman. I respect him. And Sargent says, next year, I'm hoping that there are going to be big changes in the Republican power structure in Madison County. Let me tell you, I hope that too. But let me tell you
it's not going to happen.
Right. Well, let me tell you what my fear is. Everyone that ever says that statement always says next year. And I can tell you, in 2018, for 2 years, I helped Dan Ridenour run for mayor of Muncie. He won in November, and he was going to take office in January. And we had a real crazy problem come up right after the election. We found out that somebody that got caucused in to fill a seat on the council was a felon and didn't have the right to be in the seat. And we were trying to get him out of that seat and not be stealing taxpayer money. And nobody would do it. The Republican Party was going to fight it, but then they backed down. I had a conversation with Dan Ridenour when he was still a counselor and when he was mayor-elect. And he told me, if they don't stand up and do it, I will stand up and say something. We go to the council, and he doesn't say shit. And afterwards, I'm like, what happened? And he's like, well, and I called him out, and everybody jumped down my throat. Everyone that had liked me, I had so much hate. A normal person would have jumped off a bridge. And I said, bullshit. This man ran for 2 years on being the white horse to change stuff up. And you guys are saying, don't push him. He has to wait until January. Why do you need to wait until January to be the right thing? Are you for real? You don't have to wait until January. Wake up in the morning and do the right thing. Start right now doing the right thing. And so I agree. Hopefully, after this meeting, where your rights were violated by the sheriff. Next time the sheriff will be better. Hopefully that's the case. But if it's not, then what? So
Well,
I'm just hoping.
I've got faith. I have faith in Beeman. And
I'll bet you.
Larry Savage, I'll put money on it. I'll put money. I will put money on those. I will put money on Sheriff Beeman, and I will put money on his deputies.
That is a bet I would hope I would lose.
And that's the thing. I'll put money on it. I have that much faith on it because I could tell, you could feel the pulse in the room with, but she's right.
Right. I know.
You know, but she's right. And
I know.
So I think that we will see, I think we're going to see the pendulum change in Madison County. I think a lot of things you're going to start to see more pushback. And Larry Savage said it best. What would have happened to Katherine had Mellinger been up there?
Sure, absolutely.
I'm going to tell you right now. I know there's people who love Mellinger, and he got nothing from me.
I don't care about him. You know what he would have done? You know what Mellinger would have done?
He would have made me laugh.
He would have violated your rights just like Beeman did.
Yeah. Well, I don't know, like Beeman did, because Beeman actually.
No. Wait.
We're going to argue that point.
Okay.
Because Beeman went up there and he made them have an executive meeting.
No.
They all fell for it.
Okay, you did. But so you said through that.
My question is this, Catherine.
were-
Did he ask you to leave? Did he escort you out of that room?
I think Beeman's words were, Katherine, do you want to go? And I said, this is the beginning. And I go, no. And then he said, Katherine, like a father would say. And I go, are you charging me with something? And he said, very well. I mean, that's the thing. It wasn't that we had some big.
What do you mean very well? What does very well mean?
That's when he went up to the front.
No. What? No.
At the end of all of this.
No. This was in the beginning.
What did he say when he
so
came
he went
back
up
to
there.
you?
Huh?
No. None of that shit matters. What did he say when he came back to you?
I can't. I'm going to say I can't quote him. I don't even know if he said something or if he just looked at me and said, Katherine.
All right. So
I'm definitely. I don't have it. I'm not going to lie. I'm not lying.
Right. I hear you. No, I believe you. And it was a tense situation.
It was.
My question is,
I'm not there to give Beeman a hard time.
I get it. My question is, you were sitting in your seat when they adjourned the meeting?
No.
Okay. Then he violated your rights. Period.
Okay.
If
Well,
you
we're
would
going to disagree.
No. Well, I know. I mean,
Okay, I'm going to stay with Beeman all the way.
I think the agree to disagree is whether he's a bad guy or whatever or not, or you do anything about it.
We know you don't think that.
And we don't think that. And I don't think you think that. But he did violate your rights.
He violated your rights.
What do you say, Kate?
He violated your rights.
Yeah.
If your butt was not in that seat at the end of that meeting, your rights were violated, and the guy who walked you out the door violated them just as much as the asshole sitting at the bench.
Yes.
Well,
Right.
And here's what I'm going to tell you. I can't speak for Beeman,
Mm-hmm.
but I will tell you he is someone who is going to process, and he may do things. I believe it's not a may. I think he's going to do things differently in the future.
I hope.
I do. I just do, because this is so new, but you guys have a lot more experience in this. I can't say that I've ever been taken out of a meeting ever in my life.
What?
I've never been taken out of a meeting ever in my life.
I'm just saying that if you were really, truly good and pissed about this, and you had gone home from that meeting and you had gotten on the phone or you had gotten online and you had called the ACLU, and said, "I want to sue them. They threw me out of a meeting."
How do you know I didn't
cited 1338? And they would have said, okay, fine, we'll do that. His name would be on that suit.
Yeah. With Gales.
With Gales.
And that's the thing. I mean, Beeman's a big boy.
Yes, and good men make mistakes. That's a good comment.
They do. And that's the thing. Beeman's a big boy, and if he will say, thank you, jack off. I appreciate that. But, and that's the whole, there's a first time for everything.
Yeah.
So,
I'm hoping this is a learning experience. I think
it was a learning experience for everybody in that room.
Yeah.
I think even the prosecutors that were standing back there, because I will tell you, no one was talking back there in the back. There had to be 3 or 4 prosecutors back there. I don't know how many sheriffs. No one was talking back there.
I went and looked to see if the county feed was up, but it's not up.
Yeah, and so
there's a surprise.
But the number one ringleader is Ted Nolting. He counseled them that this was the right thing to do. That's the attorney.
He might have been their screw up. The number one violator was Beeman, but yeah, okay. I get it. So yeah, because Nolte didn't walk you out and Ben Gale didn't walk you out. They couldn't have. I mean, that would have been weird. They definitely don't have that authority. One of these days,
who's giving
will do the right thing.
Who's giving legal advice?
What?
Ted Nolting is giving legal advice.
He's not giving Beeman legal advice. He's not Beeman's attorney.
Well, he's the county attorney.
He's not. The sheriff's department has their own attorney. It's not him.
I'll have to check into that. I don't know that it's Graham.
I don't know who it is. I don't know.
Yeah, I'll have to check into that. I don't know. I've never seen Beeman with an attorney, to be honest with you.
Right.
Yeah, so I don't know. I'll have to ask him. But that's just what it is, and it'll be interesting to see how this shakes out.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's a learning experience, and we're going to see. But
because they got a meeting coming up on October 8th.
I can tell you this. If anybody thinks that I'm not going to have some accountability by these government officials, I'm going to have some accountability. Let there be no mistake. There will be some accountability.
I just want him to know. I just want Vaughn to know that he's nobody. I respect the janitor of the building more than I respect Mikhail Vaughn. I respect the janitor of the building more than I respect Steele, or more than I respect Emery, or more than I respect Likens, or Norick, or any of them, Gale, or any of them. Richwine, Pratt, the other Likens, or the other Likens. Like the janitor in the building, the secretary behind a desk that's working her ass off. I respect them more. These people are lowly public officials that are supposed to be working for the citizens, and they don't give a shit about the citizens. And so therefore I don't give a shit about them. And I am going to figuratively, politically speaking, spit in their eye every time I get that chance. And, the bottom line is they're not doing the right thing. And we have to force them. If they're not going to do the right thing, they have to either resign, get beaten, or we have to force them into some. It's got to be a battle.
Well, the positive is that Mikhail's not coming back, Emery's not coming back, and Gale's not coming back.
Yeah, that is a positive. That is a positive. And let me tell you, that is a lot you're doing, and you can take that as a major win.
Well, and Sean, it's a major win. Laureen, it's a major win. I mean, the three, there's other people, but I will tell everybody, while we have gained people as we've moved forward, the three of us, Sean and Laureen have been in it longer than me, but I've been with them since 21, and it's been, and we've had our differences, but we've continued on that path together. And here we are. Laureen's not up there defending me. Laureen's like, well, if Katherine can't speak, I can speak on the truth.
Yeah, she says, yeah. And we'll listen to that in a second. I want to say this for the record. Sean Smith said that Nolting is not the sheriff's attorney. Jeff Graham usually files initial appearances, and then outside counsel represents them. Most suits brought against them are federal. So yeah, that's the reason they're not.
And here's the thing: there will be justice for John Beeman. And do you know what that is? The justice will be when the FBI comes in and says, all you
He
people
wasn't wronged. What are you talking about?
Listen to the justice. All you people have misappropriated funds. You have spent and spent. You're the ones that continue to give this money to the commissioners like it's nothing, and you don't have to account for anybody. And then when the FBI comes in and they let Beeman arrest these guys, that's the win.
Yeah.
You know, but I try to see the positive, that these people are going to jail. That's the positive. And that Beeman hopefully will be the person arresting them. That's the positive.
I don't think they'll go to jail. If they do go to jail, it won't be Beeman arresting them, because if they would be going to jail, it would be federal, so it wouldn't be Beeman. But I don't care. Look, at the end of the day, I'll be honest. I don't give a shit if they go to jail or not. I just want them out of the power.
And that's how I am.
Out of power.
We're at a win right now. And here's the thing. The more Diana Likens sits up there, the more everybody gets to see.
Yeah,
she's a liar.
She is ridiculous.
I mean, she needs a dunce hat on.
Yeah.
I mean, I have never seen somebody where the lights are on and nobody's home.
Yeah.
I mean,
the only time in this meeting that she seemed like she was a living human being is when she got all excited because she thought you were going to be shot or something.
Oh, yeah. I mean, that's all she lives for.
Yeah.
And the fact that you sit there in that seat when your gross and disgusting husband sued the commissioners and Eckert gets up there and says, we've never been sued. The commissioners don't get sued. And this woman can't even do the right thing. I mean, let me ask you, is this a legal meeting? Are they under oath?
Yeah.
Okay. I just wanted to make sure that Eckert was up there lying to people.
Well, you guys didn't swear in. They didn't. No, they're not under oath. Like the people at the podium aren't. But they shouldn't be lying.
But Eckert's not there. He's there as an appointed official.
Yeah, right. But he didn't raise his hand and swear in. He wasn't sworn in by an official, like a judge or somebody. He's just up there talking.
Well, these guys were sworn in when they went to become elected officials.
The officials were. He's not. He's just an appointed employee. He's not elected.
Right.
Eckert's not.
But Diana Likens needs to say, "My husband."
Yeah. They know better than that. They all know that they've been sued. Ben Gale knows that.
Right. But the public doesn't know.
Yeah, right. That's right. No, you're right. I mean, that's what I'm saying is they any one of them could have said it, should have said it, but they didn't. That's let's play hers. I don't want to. We're leaving her hanging. And she's like, I've been waiting for my big appearance.
She's very patient. She is very patient.
Yeah. Look, she's been standing there this whole time. Listen, and what she says is fantastic.
Green White, the commissioner's administrative assistant said that the commissioners have never been sued, I think. I have a lawsuit against the commissioners right now.
Boom!
Well, so what happened here, Ben? That got your tongue? And look at Diana Likens. Well, I'm just going to look down because I can't dare to look at the public. I'm not. This is why I want the public in the audience, is so they can look at these people and they can sit there and say, "This is gross."
I love Lorraine.
I mean, it doesn't, and that's the thing. We would have been done a long time ago. So how much more did the meeting go after Lorraine?
Real quick. I want to say, and because we've been beating up on you a little bit. That's a big thing that you need to also take as a win, is that you are packing these meetings. I've been in these meetings where there have been very few people, and there are a lot of people in there. And a lot of that is, again, it's Sean, it's Lorraine, it's Larry, it's Rebecca Crooms. You are making a difference. You are making a difference. You personally, they personally, you guys are making a difference. And so those are good. And you need to feel proud about that. And
I am. But, Dave Sargent has come out of nowhere to help us.
Yeah, I love him. He's a great dude.
Sean Smith has been there. Laureen, Nicole, Cheryl, Cindy. There's so many that have really stepped up to the plate and are filling those seats. Leslie Bright, Bree, they're all taking time out of their own lives and they're coming here, and You know, I just have to say, I mean, the meeting didn't last much longer than what.
No,
right?
we can we can show it real quick. It's 1 hour 17:08.
We have a motion in a second. Is there any discussion amongst the council?
Question, Mr. Eckert, this, when you renegotiated that, is that going to be, you renegotiated the year, so is this going to be for fiscal year 25, or is it going to be a remainder?
Oh, so he gets to come back again? Are you kidding me?
It's gonna be.
He come back again.
So starting now, that negotiation,
Started in May.
it started in May.
Yeah, that's why this wasn't in your budget. Right.
So the budget numbers that they have requested for 25 reflect this.
That's exactly right.
Is there any other discussion?
What
All in
did you
favor,
just say?
Aye. All opposed?
What?
So they just gave him all that money.
Yeah.
That passes.
So they just gave him, he
Uh,
overspent on his budget.
Yeah.
He's transferred money out of his insurance line, emptied it out, and then he needed to replenish it. And he transferred money out of the insurance to other department areas, other line items, and they just replenished 81,000 of overspending.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, I'm pulling the ordinance on that. I mean,
yeah,
I mean, they had a special one made for the coroner's office, so I know it exists.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that was over autopsies.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. That, which is insane. And again, I want to say, I don't want everyone to think that I'm just beating up on Beeman, because all the anger, and it's not really anger, but all of the madness I had about that, I feel that same way about Jody Norick, because she could have done so much. She could have made Beeman not even necessary. She could have said, wait a minute, I'd like to hear what she has to say. Or she could have spoke up and said, well, we are here, we do work for them. She could have been the Ryan Webb of the meeting. Someone needs to be the Ryan Webb of the meeting and be like, hey, we are working for them. I'd like to hear what they got to say. She could have said that. Mikhail could have said that. Diane could have said that. Any one of them could have said that. And when Keller gets back, I know a lot of people have been like, oh, she always fights for the rights, but so does Beeman, and we saw what happened. So I hope that she truly does, because had she been there, it's not hard for me to imagine her sitting there and not. I don't think she would have said anything any different. I think this meeting still would have played out if she was there that same way. And that's just my thought.
I have a feeling we're going to be in this situation again.
Oh yeah. I can promise you that.
I think you have to know my phone has blown up all day, and I apologize for anybody that I have not been able to get back to all day today. I did have patience. It's been a very busy day, and it has really sparked a county to say, we got to go to this meeting. Look at, when is the next meeting? We are coming to this meeting.
Yeah.
I hope the room is packed with disgusted voters.
Yeah.
At some point, you have to quit paying these taxes. They want to cut the budget. They said, I think it's 1.3 million or something like that. But do you know, between the last meeting and this meeting, they've dumped almost $5 million into the rainy day fund? So in the last couple of meetings, but yet you've got to cut the budget by 1.3 million. Now it gets even better. We keep losing sheriffs to Hamilton County.
Oh yeah.
They'll come, they'll get trained. We, the county, taxpayers, pay for the training, $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 for each sheriff. Then we pay them nickels. Hamilton County pays them so much more. So they leave and go to Hamilton County. And I'm saying they've got to pay our sheriffs. Madison County looks like a war zone. They've got to do something differently. I could give two shits how many auditors we lose.
Yeah, right.
But there is no replacement for sheriffs that we lose.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah.
And that's the reality of it. We just don't have and that's, we can talk about firefighters and EMTs. And we lose them too. That's more, they're in the city. They're not in the county. So I don't want firefighters or EMTs to think, or APD or anybody think, I don't think anything of them, but this is a county meeting. So I'm only talking about people who are coming out of the county budget. So please do not negate that anybody else around. This is a county meeting and I'm only talking about that money. And so, and here's the thing. If you feel so strongly about that and you live in the city, get to the city meetings. Let it be heard.
Yes.
Speak. But I will tell you, the city has been really increasing the cops' pays. I've been watching that a little bit over there, and that's what, Sean's saying the same thing. When is there any accountability? They're misappropriating funds. This council is violating that. And if you sit there, who says it? I think it's Shelley Boggs Harvey. Saying nothing is being complicit.
Yes.
She says it all the time.
Yes.
And that is what is happening with several of these members.
That's my whole point about everything that's happened tonight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're complicit.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And, and it is what it is. And everybody's like, well, Catherine, you need to pick and choose your battles.
No.
And here's what I want everybody to understand. I'm not angry. I'm not even pissed off because, I lost that a long time ago, being pissed off and angry. What I am is I'm very passionate about the people.
Yeah.
And it's sad that people can't look at you and I and say, so they found a cause that they're very passionate about. Instead, it's, oh, look at him. Look at her. They're just angry. They're just pissed off. They don't get their way. Well, she didn't win an election, so she just hung up on this. No. When you find something that's wrong, you should be out there trying to make it right for the people.
Yes.
None of this is about me. None of this. I am going to be able to afford taxes. They have tripled my business buildings property taxes. Tripled them. I am fighting that. But if push comes to shove, I'm going to have to pay it until I can get it figured out, right? I'm going to have to.
Yeah.
But what about the people who can't?
Right, right.
That's where the problem begins. You think that this morgue is for Katherine Callahan?
Yeah, right. What are you going to do, lay in it?
I mean, you people, somebody sent me a picture, or it's not a picture, it sent me, and they said, well, the morgue doesn't look like that now. So I said, well, post a picture of it. Show me what it looks like. Are there drains in the floor? I mean, have you built a viewing room? Are you telling me that the hazmat or whatever, the command center RV still isn't sitting in there? Are you telling me there's not generators sitting all over the place there? Are you telling me that the sheriff's trailers aren't still in there? You're telling me all that stuff has been removed from there, because I can guarantee you it hasn't. And if anybody, and this was a transport person from Frankton who put that on Facebook. And it disgusts me that you would get on there and say, oh, it doesn't look like that now. If you think for 1 minute it is appropriate for me to say, let me take you over here to the pole barn and show you your loved one, it's never going to be okay. I don't care what you say. A pole barn is not going to ever be okay when it's stuffed in there with other crap.
Yeah.
And then you go build a $900,000 pole barn from the health department?
Yeah, that's insane.
Put that RV in there for $500,000? Don't get me started on the health department. That's a whole different show right there. And that's the whole thing. People, I am passionate that if your loved one passed, I want them to have some respect. But what I've had to listen to from this council? Only trash dies and goes to the coroner's office.
I see. Yeah, that's nuts. That's nuts.
And that's the thing. That is not true. And you know what, Dave Sargent? You are true. I am running on about 2.5 hours of sleep right now. I went to bed about 1 and got up at 3 this morning and had to get charts done and had to get things done.
Good Lord.
And that's the whole thing. Oh, please believe. These people are like, these people live rent free in your head. Nope. I sleep like a baby.
It's quite the other way around.
I sleep like a baby. I ain't got no problem. I mean, I got these fools I mean, I got so many license plates going on right now because these guys are coming over there. They're sending people over to my house. They're sending people all over to find. I mean, this is the most ridiculous thing I've ever seen, to the point where I've got so many license plates, I'm going to start filing protective orders on stalking. I mean, if we just want to go down this path,
Right.
I'm not the liar here.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to do the right thing for the people.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's the thing. I mean, I don't know what more I can do for the people, but to continue to educate the people.
You're doing it. You're doing everything that you can be doing. And that's what it is. Let's wrap this meeting up here just so we can see, because that's a very crazy part. Was they kicked you out and they did that whole thing at 1 hour 11 to 1 hour 16:45, all for the last 5 minutes of the meeting. Because watch what happens here.
Thank you. So I know I've spoken on this before, but for the 2024 budget, the courts and public defender office have presented our budgets together. The state had dictated to us that the appeals cost come out of the public defender budget rather than the courts. So the courts and I agreed there was a $235,000 budget item for 2023. We did our best to estimate for 2024. The courts took $135,000 of that to pay for mental health experts, interpreters, those costs. The public defenders took $100,000 to pay for appeals. Unfortunately, we were low on our estimate. The request I made earlier this evening totaled $56,000. So I appreciate you approving those. We're going to be in a shortfall of about $76,000 if things continue for the rest of the way.
$76,000 shortfall.
So out of our supplemental fund, out of the grant money, out of the salary that we discussed earlier, we made up $56,000 of that. So I'm asking for an additional $20,000. And as always, if we're in compliance, we'll get 40% of that back. So it's a $20,000 request. The total's $12,000.
They always overspend too. I mean,
Who
there's
is it?
so
Public
much.
Defender's Office?
As it has for
Yeah.
the first 9 months of the year.
Yeah.
Yes. So fingers crossed.
Yeah, that's Brian Williams right there. One of
Yeah.
the prosecutors. Yeah, I mean, it's the same. It's the same thing. Nobody can budget.
Councilman Bond. Second
Yeah.
by Councilman Emery. Any discussion?
And then watch this.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
That passes. Thank you. Thank you all very much. Thank you.
Next, we have salary ordinances. This is salary ordinance 2024-9B for the prosecutor's office. Once again, this could be approved unanimously tonight, or if it's not unanimous, we'll come back next month. Is there any? Okay, we have a motion by Councilman Emery, a second by Councilman Bond. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? That passes unanimously. Thank you.
Wow.
I didn't see, other than this public hearing sign in, I didn't see another sign in sheet with any names on it. Tom, is there anything there? Okay, thank you. So the next council meeting will be on October 8th at 6 p.m. Was that a motion to adjourn by Councilman Vaughn? Second by Councilwoman Likens. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? We're adjourned. Thank you.
That's it. They shut her down. I mean, so they did all of that insanity, kicked you out, did all of that shit for 5 minutes ending at the meeting.
And now the people get to see.
Mm-hmm.
That's the great part. I could not have asked for a better display of corruption, a better display of dictatorship than these guys put on themselves. I mean, I couldn't. They have done a phenomenal job to show the people they do not work for them.
Yeah.
And that is, for me, so many people walked out of that meeting yesterday in disgust when they came out of that building. Disgust.
And you were outside there?
I was right outside, and many stopped. Many shook my hand. Many took pictures with me. I mean, it's incredible of the amount of support that I get from the public. For finally, somebody is like a breath of fresh air who isn't afraid of these people. So, Sean told me today, Sean said, have you ever watched that movie, Larry Flint movie?
Yeah.
He said, I've seen bits of, he's like,
it's good. Yeah.
You got to watch that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so, that's the thing. And the reason why I wanted to start, there was so much more that went on in this meeting, but I hope the people have learned something. I hope, I do. And this was disgusting.
So this is the article that Ken Della Batiste wrote based off of what we just witnessed. It says a few comments on the proposed 2025 county public hearing. Members of the public were given an opportunity to have input in the development of the 2025 budget for the operation of Madison County government. The Madison County Council conducted a state-mandated public hearing Tuesday with final action on the proposed $44.3 million budget scheduled for the October 8th meeting. Before the public hearing started, Council President Ben Gale said construction of the county morgue is not part of the 2025 budget. It's like they got to let everybody know that. Gale said the Madison County Commissioners must start the process if the county decides to build a morgue, which we don't ever look to be doing. The council must cut approximately $1.9 million from budgets submitted by various county departments. At the start of the meeting, Councilman Mikhail Vaughn, the bullshit man, made a motion to postpone the public hearing on the budget. Now, really what's interesting here is, so first, they got to cut $1.9 million from the budget. When are they going to be cutting that?
Well, here's the thing. Do you know that they met last night and the council didn't even have the budget? That's what Mikhail was complaining about. They didn't have the budget. That's why they didn't want to talk about it. So now the public doesn't have the budget. You guys don't have the budget, but you want us to speak on the budget. And oh, by the way, when we question anything, you need to go sit in your seat. So, I mean, that's the whole thing. Nobody even had the budget. So, and that was one thing Mikhail was saying. This isn't even close to what we're going to do because we still have to cut, over $1.9 million. So I'm going to talk about a subject and then, we cut that line item, so your opinion really didn't matter. I mean, if these aren't true, then why are we having this discussion? You don't even have true numbers going on. This is the slip and slide that your county council does with your money. They're not even putting out appropriate budgets for the people. They're not even giving you an idea of what you've got going on. They have until November 1st. Now, remember last year, everyone, Ben Gale and Flunky Rick Gardner, who you guys, I don't know why, voted him back into his seat to be commissioner. You do have one more chance in the fall because he is contested. But he clearly does things in a vindictive way because he put through the budget that Ben Gale and Auditor Gardner meant to put through, even though Bethany Keller and Jody Norick said, that's not the budget we approved. And then suddenly Rick's got amnesia as bad as, who's our president?
Rick Gardner, I think.
Right? I mean, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
I mean,
ridiculous.
People, wake up.
Yeah.
Those people don't care about your pocketbook. They're never going to. And the reason why they don't is because I swear to you, they're skimming off the top. I promise you, somehow, some way, nobody takes their taxes offline if they're not hiding something. Give me a break. And I'm going to say it again. The people who steal from the government are the people who are in financial despair. The Culps just filed a $500,000 bankruptcy in March of 24. They are rebuilding. On who? We'll have to wait and see. Because what's so disgusting to me is they put in close to $60,000, I think, into their financial campaigns. Let me get this right. You file $500,000 bankruptcy and now you're outspending all this money on a campaign for what? You spent more money on this campaign than you're going to get in a 1-year salary. Oh, that's right. You're going to make sure you slide some money in there so you can get higher than that. This is disgusting.
Yeah,
and I'm fed up with it.
Yeah, it's nuts. Moving on down here. Go ahead. What do you
Well,
think?
I just want to remind everybody, when
Yeah.
you vote for Culp in the fall,
Yeah.
because Ken Delabastide couldn't get his article right, he put that it's Todd running for county council. It's not, it's his son. Todd is running uncontested. Nobody ran against him in the Democrat part for auditor. So Todd's automatically the new auditor. And I'm just telling you right now, it's the swamp who sent stuff out about families like the Norks and stuff like that. Well, they better be sending something out about the Culps all being, family members and voting and stuff like
interrelated.
that. If Culp and Green get back into if the Culp and Green get into the seats, worthless. I don't know why Green would want to destroy his career like this at the end, but hey, you want to do this stuff, Dr. Green? I'll call you out too.
Yeah. Very, very, very strange. So it goes on and it says, Vaughn said the public would not have any opportunity to provide input on the 2025 budget at the October meeting. Gail said the 2025 budget proposal for the $46.1 million in spending and that state law requires a public hearing prior to final adoption of a budget. The budget must be submitted to the Indiana Department of Government Finance by November 1st, which means it needs to be voted on. Vaughn's motion was defeated by a 4-2 vote, with Councilwoman Jody Norick casting the other no vote. So it's like sometimes Vaughn and Norick think they are doing the right thing, but it's just they're so
it's not consistent.
It's not consistent. Yeah, right. It's very weird. Councilwoman Bethany Keller was not in attendance after giving birth to a child on Sunday. We're following the state law process, Gail says. There are always adjustments made to the budget after the public hearing. We do still need to make some cuts to the balanced budget. He said this is more challenging. This is a more challenging and difficult budget, and we will have to make unpopular cuts. Gail asked council members to come to the October 8th meeting with recommended reductions in spending. Local resident Dave Sargent presented documentation concerning a possible morgue to the council. We have objections to the budget, he said. Sargent recommended the county use American Rescue Plan funds to purchase 2 new vehicles for the coroner's office to reduce maintenance costs. He also suggested purchasing handheld radios for the coroner's office, additional training for the staff, and hiring a full-time deputy to work during the day. Marquest Higgins, running on the Libertarian Party ticket for election as a county commissioner, said the county should provide continuing education for department heads to learn about the best practices in other counties. Higgins also said young people are willing and excited to be part of the local government. In other business, the council approved the transfer of $3.4 million to the rainy day fund. The fund currently has a balance of $13.7 million.
So now that's going to take what, up to 17.1?
Yeah, right.
And
right.
You want to cut 1.9 million? Let's give it to them.
Yeah.
And then in January, we'll see them come in and ask for hundreds of thousands of dollars. I mean, that's what they do every year.
Yeah. Gardner said the funds are from non-recurring revenue sources and can't be relied upon in the future. He said 1.1 million is from the interest earned on funds in reserve for a construction of a new jail, 120,000 from a 2021 tax sale, 700,000 from commissioner's sale, and 1.5 million in interest earnings. Okay. Follow Ken Delabastide on Twitter at blah, 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 blah. Amazingly, he did not mention anything about the 5-minute
recess
nonsense that occurred in the middle.
But go back down to the bottom there where he talked. How much money is that? So he says there's 1.1 million in interest and then 1.5 million in interest. Well, that's 2.6 million in interest that they wouldn't normally bank on because they couldn't normally do that. So you know what, council? Looks like you don't need Elwood and Alexandria or anybody else to pay you money. And this is what I got a problem with the dispatch. We got to do a whole show on the dispatch and how Knowlton and those guys are strong arming the different towns, municipalities. They want their money. I mean, they want a lot of money for these people to run dispatch. Here is the thing. County taxpayers pay county taxes, right? And then sometimes you have to pay taxes to the towns in which you live in, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. So now you're telling me that the people who live in Elwood, the people who live in LaPel, the people who live in Alexandria, they not only have to pay for the dispatch with their county taxes, they have to pay again with their municipality taxes. Is that how that's working? Because that's how it sounds like it's working. So I'm not sure why you're penalizing our outskirt facilities, but if you just live in the county and you don't live in one, you only have to pay for dispatch once. Well, now all these people have to pay for it twice. This is the most screwed up crap I've ever seen. Does anybody ever look at this stuff? I mean, does anybody ever? I mean, and again, you guys think I'm crazy, I'm a lunatic. I've heard some of it today. No, I'm just a realist looking at it by balancing a checkbook.
Yeah.
That's all I'm doing.
Yeah, right.
You know, it's not, I mean, just eyeball it and you can tell these people are ripping you off.
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah.
You know, and that's my whole problem with the whole thing. I mean, look at Knucklehead Gardner.
Yeah.
Okay? He lives in Anderson City. And then in Anderson, they're paying over $1 million to dispatch. Then he's paying county taxes. So they're double dipping. No wonder you've filed bankruptcy and done all this other stuff, Rick, because you don't even know what you're doing with your own money. I mean, he should be up for the first one saying, why are we double dipping? Why are you making me pay twice for dispatch center?
You would think this would be something that he would be concerned about.
Right? I mean, these are the kind, and Todd Colby, he's another one. You live in the city of Anderson, you're already paying towards dispatch, and now you're paying county, so you're paying for it twice, you dipwads. I mean, that's my whole problem is that, and I'm going to say it, unintelligent men in powerful positions that don't have a thinking cap. That is the premise behind the whole thing. And then you know what happens? You get pissed off. You're the ones that are angry. You guys are the ones that are pissed off because you got somebody smarter than you coming in there saying, well, this doesn't make sense. Well, quit getting pissed off. Learn from the people. I mean, you know, I travel so I can learn other cultures.
Right.
I don't get angry because Italy has better leather than us.
Right.
I mean, I'm like, hey, this is really nice. We should figure out how to do that in America. That's what you do. You learn and you grow. But these guys are so dug in, they can't open their minds to anything. And it's sad.
Yeah.
It's pathetic.
It really is. It really is a sad state of affairs. What you guys have going on over there is nuts.
And it's only going to get worse. They're only going to dig in more.
Well, I'm hoping it's going to get better.
I don't see that. You're going after their big hoo-ha, Russ Willis. You know, his panties are all bunched up because he legally violated, you know, the procedures on some things. And then you got Kelly Hewer running around with her little flag.
Yeah, she sent me a friend request tonight. I hope Kelly watched this.
Yeah, she's got her little white flag. I'm not with Russ. I'm not with Russ. Don't put me with Russ. Oh, give me a break. Sip it. I've just had about all I can take of all of them. So I'm just going to continue. Yeah, I'm just going to continue to keep moving forward. I'm just going to continue to inform the people. I'm thankful for everybody who watches this show and comes on to this. And Dave Sargent, if you're still on here and you're listening, I cannot believe that you allowed those council members to shoot you down. And I will give it to Laureen and Sean. Sarge should have said, but what you can do is say, we have set aside this amount of money. We think it's a great idea to do the morgue. So we're going to put this over to the side and say, we're recommending that they build a morgue for the county. That's what should have happened.
Yeah.
And that's where you should have said, no, this is the budget. You should be setting some money aside. So now why don't you cut your budget by 2.5 and put, you know, and here's the thing. I don't know if I've ever told this to Dave Sargent, but I'm going to tell you guys, there was $400,000 that was earmarked of CARES Act money for a morgue in Madison County when Troy and I took that seat. We were told that in December. We were told that in December of 20. We were going to take seat in January. Troy and I were out at the pole barn, and that's where they wanted to put the morgue, was in the pole barn. They actually wanted to put the morgue right up against the wall that's closest to dispatch. So it would have been on the west wall instead of putting it on the east wall. So Troy said, you do understand we just had COVID and that's airborne. What ventilation system are you going to hook this up to? They're like, well, we're just going to attach it to the one we have. He said, you can't. You'll take out your entire dispatch if we bring something in that goes airborne. You know, you open somebody who's been poisoned by cyanide.
Yeah.
It's going to go into the air. It can harm people. I mean, autopsies, don't think you go to autopsies and you can't get harmed from that. Absolutely. Those gases come out of that body. You don't know what they've ingested.
Oh, yeah.
And so, you know, we're telling this to them as medical people. I mean, what if I had detectives in an autopsy with me and I'm so careless, they open it up and I lose these detectives? This is the stuff we're talking about. And then, you know what that did? That spiraled the commissioners and Eckert into a snowball. And then that's when they were like, no, you guys are just unwilling to work for us and with us. Really? We're trying to keep you safe. So when they put that beer cooler, because they were, oh, we're putting this beer cooler in. So they put the beer cooler in there. And again, Troy and I said, the stench is going to be bad. I mean, look at my hair. Sometimes I come home from a death scene. Yeah. I have to literally undress outside.
Yeah. Oh,
it's in my hair. It's disgusting. Like the smell gets in your hair. Not fluids, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I even put my hair up and it is in my hair.
Yeah. We used to have a protocol when I was on the police department, and I either when I was in patrol, and so we'd have a uniform, and I would be at a death scene, and we would have a protocol for when I got home, how we did all of that to get that going. Mm-hmm. And then when I was in investigations and I was an investigator there and doing all of that, we had various different things. The worst thing is when it gets up in your nostrils. One time, one of the very worst things, we had just to wrap up, we had a gentleman die of natural causes in like August, and he died when there was like a little bit of a cold snap. Okay, so like he didn't have the air conditioning on, and then he died sitting at his bar. Had a heart attack. He had 2 Dobermans, and they had went in there and basically they had ate through all the food. They ate everything in there. They started biting into his leg. He was sitting at the bar. And it was the worst. That was the worst smelling scene I'd ever been on. And I get home, I get everything off. I remember we had a really bad storm that night, lost power right before we lost power. I warmed up 2 Hot Pockets. I got everything off of me. Everything was good. I'm like back to smelling normal, everything. I bite into that Hot Pocket. And as soon as I bite into it, it was just like biting into his leg like the dog. Yep. Because I could smell it in my nose. Yep. And it was like, fuck, we're done. So,
and here's the thing. So they buy this beer cooler.
Yeah, that was insane.
So the beer cooler comes in May, right?
Yeah.
Oh, we got so many complaints by June. The smell of the stench was so bad. They had to put these huge exhaust fans in the pole barn wall.
Wait a minute.
Huge.
Okay, so I know, like I remember when all this, but I didn't follow it. Did you guys actually keep people in the coolers? In the cooler?
Oh, in the beer cooler, absolutely. We'd have 6 to 9 bodies in there. It holds 9, and it's tough. It's tough. And then here's the thing. We had bodies leaking. We just had to spray it down off the concrete because there's no drains out there. There's no drain inside the cooler either. So you have to squeegee it out into the gravel. What do you think's going to happen?
I don't.
And nobody wants to listen to us where the flies are coming from. We're telling you what's happening, and you people won't listen to us. And then somebody wants to say, I'm the one that gets OSHA call. I'm the one that finally called OSHA because you guys wouldn't give me anything I needed.
That's not.
So anyways, that's my soapbox. Sarge, you got to tell these people, no, you can have a commitment to set money aside and say, this is how much we can give for that morgue. They still got $9 million of ARPA funds. They don't know what to do with. I'm telling you, a morgue, and again, I don't even want to hear it. That is more important than your park trails. I'm just going to say it.
Yeah.
So it is what it is. And, and here's the thing. You're going to build these park trails and not going to pay our sheriffs? Well, you're going to have some pretty dangerous park trails. You better start paying some sheriffs too. So that is my lecture for tonight. Thank you to all the sheriffs who supported me. I appreciate you. And even the prosecutor's office supported me. I thank you as well. And so we will see what October brings. I hope you guys will come out. I hope, we'll see a lot of people there to fill the seats.
Catherine's got some beer pong to go play.
I do.
Well, Katherine, I very much appreciate you coming on and talking to us. I would kind of wish that you would have took the ride and would have went to jail. I would have bailed you out. There's something like going to jail. I actually had a prosecutor ask me if I wanted to file an expungement and have my misdemeanor arrest removed from my record. And I said, hell no, that is like a badge of honor. I wear that thing like a badge of honor. I'm keeping that thing forever.
Sean said he would have left me in there for about an hour and then he would have come get me. I'm just kidding.
I tried to get them to make me stay overnight. I was trying to call my wife and trying to call my mother, who were both together at the meeting, and saying, don't come bail me out. Keep me in here overnight. But I couldn't get a hold of them because their dumbasses went to the prosecutor's office or went to the prosecutor's house and then came to bail me out. I was so pissed.
Well, Sean said it was going to take him an hour because he didn't bring his hat to pass it around to see who wanted to help me bail out. So
I always take $250 to the meetings. That way I can bail myself out if I want to come out.
I would have bailed somebody out. So,
well, I appreciate you coming on and talking to us. We'll obviously follow this. I hope that Beeman was watching. I hope that the council members were watching. I tagged them like all day long. I had everybody tagged except Ben Gale, and I couldn't get him. I couldn't get he apparently doesn't have social media. So I just said, screw it. And I sent the link to his cell phone.
They all watch it.
So
they all watch it. I hear through the grapevine, they all watch it.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I love it.
Yeah, they wait till after we go off, though, so nobody can see them jump on. So they all watch it.
Get on. So, yeah, I sent them. And so hopefully they're watching and learning and learning to love us and just, hey, do what you're supposed to do and there won't be a problem. And the other thing is, if they resign, I'll never mention their names again. So if you don't want to be talked about ever again, just leave and we'll forget you exist.
If they want me to go away, build a morgue, you won't hear from me again. I promise you that. And you know what? You're probably thinking 4 years ago, we should have just given her the $1 million of ARPA money,
right.
built the morgue, and she would have shut up. I absolutely would have.
I'm telling you.
Told that.
You're too far in now. Even if you got the morgue, you're not going anywhere.
That's possible.
It's bitch. They've screwed up.
Yeah.
That ship has already sailed.
Yeah. So it was the gavel that did me in.
Yeah, right. I love it.
All you did is nail me to this county to keep coming back.
A little bit further. Absolutely.
That's all they did. So, all right. Well, thank you guys.
All right. Well, thanks, Katherine, for coming on. I appreciate it very much. And everybody, we're still friends. We had that heated debate, but we still love her. So no problem, no harm, no foul. Everything's good to go. Yeah. All right, Katherine. Thank you much.
Right, thanks.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, that is going to do it for us. This was another long one, but it's Katherine. So what do you know? There's a lot to talk about always when we got her on the show, and there's a lot to go through. This was something good for everybody to pay attention to. Hey, folks, it's Wednesday night, man. So I've got to say this before we roll out of here. Look, tomorrow's the day. Town hall meeting, Donald Rainwater, 7 p.m. Holy crap, I can't believe it. I got less than 12 hours. 7 p.m. Rainwater Town Hall tomorrow, 7 p.m. Eastern. Be here, ready to watch it, rock and roll, ready to be there and listen to what's going on. We will then take an hour break from 8 to 9, and then we will be back at 9 p.m. with episode 283. Woo! We've had an action-packed week. You guys tune into that tomorrow. It's going to be good. Rainwater needs all of our help, our support, our questions, our thoughts, and it's going to be a great, 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 great show. You guys have a wonderful rest of your evening. Have a great Thursday work day, and we will see you back here tomorrow. Good night. God bless. Goodbye. You know,